This week on the Jock and Nerd podcast, we've got spoiler reviews for the first episode of Moon Knight on Disney Plus and Sony's Morbius movie. Yes. Plus, our favorite Bruce Willis movies and more, all in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Monday, April 4th, 2022.
This is Frank Grillo. You know me. But who are you? Are you the discerning, sophisticated type of person who enjoys all the latest comic book and superhero TV and movie news? Pop culture references, witty banter? Me neither. I'm just here for the dick jokes.
Check. Check one. All right. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up. We talking, we nerding. We funny, disturbing. We talking, we nerding. We spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, hello, what's up, listener? Welcome to the Jock and Nerd podcast, where we give you comic book and superhero TV and movie news, reviews, and whatever we choose. Jock and Nerd. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the nerd.
And joining us, fella gets his powers from the Egyptian god of bullshit. Of course, it's Rug Boy. What's up, Rugs? Rugahotep. How
I'm
is it?
Dung Knight, yes.
Yes, you're Dung Knight. There it is.
Oh, yes.
Shit. Dung Knight. Oh, fantastic follow-up to my pitch there, Rux.
I was going to say Poon Knight, but then that means I get vagina, and it doesn't, if I got the powers from that,
No.
then that'd be different.
Gotta bullshit. You would be Dung Knight. It
Yes.
works.
What else? What else is the other? What do they call Cow Pie Night? I don't know. That's not funny.
This is the magic that made Abbott and Costello so great. Does anybody get that reference? Anthony?
An Abbott and Costello reference?
Yeah.
No.
Comedy duo? No, nothing.
I know who
Okay.
that is.
Yeah.
But I'm not on top of my Abbott and Costello.
Oh, no,
Costello
you got that's a classic comedy. You got to brush up. Anyways.
Which one of us is the stupid one?
Who's Abbott? Who's Costello?
Somebody has to be the smart one here.
I don't remember which one is which, to tell you the truth.
Didn't they meet Frankenstein in one movie?
Oh,
And the
yeah.
Wolfman,
And
yes.
the Wolfman, yes.
Dracula too. They're all in there.
That's when that as you guys like to say when shows jump the shark. I think that's when the Universal monsters jumped the shark.
When they were on
when they were
Abbott and
That was
hanging
the
out
Costello.
first.
with them.
That was the first documented case of a movie
Yeah.
franchise jumping the shark.
Yeah, they were trying to build the MonsterVerse with Abbott Costello back in the fucking 40s, weren't
Yeah. Well, they basically like got all them. At that point, they were like much older and they reprised their roles. So they had been like long since gone. That time had been passed.
they? Also, Abbott and Costello, they're just ripping off Laurel and Hardy. Let's be honest. There's the OGs.
Yeah.
Anyways, enough about old comedy duos that nobody cares about anymore.
Fat guy, skinny guy.
That guy, skinny guy, rough guy, meat guy. Yes, it's great.
Ralph Cramden.
Yeah, Ed
right.
Norton. You got
Yeah,
Fred
that's
and
right.
Barney. Like it never fails. It's
Yeah.
the perfect formula. That's why me and Anthony work so well.
Oh.
We look like a number 10 when we stand next to each other.
Okay.
That guy's skinny guy. Anyways, look, we got a couple of great reviews this episode for you, listener. Reviews of things that start with the letter M, because I guess that's the letter we're up to in the alphabet this week. I don't know. We only review things with the letter M. But before we get to do that, there's one topic I need to discuss with you fellas. And it was tied into something that was brought up on our last Patreon-only Discord hangout last month, both with you, which you missed, you bastards. But I'll fill you in, because somebody, the topic came up, what happened to Bruce Willis, right? And I was like, what do you mean? And then, you go and you look at his IMDb, and you realize, his movie career here looks a lot like Nick Cage's IMDb listing.
Yeah, he's just in movies with Frank Grillo now.
Frank Grillo, movies that go straight to VOD in 2021 alone. 8 movies. He did 8 movies in 2021. 2022, already there's 7 with dates and 3 more in post-production. And none of them are, apparently any good. So.
Yeah, what? I don't. Yeah, I was like, when I looked at his filmography and I was like, when did he become Steven Seagal?
Right, exactly. When did he become Nick Cage? When did he become Steven Seagal?
If I could guess what happened, it's maybe that he got this diagnosis and he was like, shit, shit's going to start falling apart real quick. I might as well try and make as much money as I possibly can doing whatever I can.
Yeah. So Bruce Willis's family last Wednesday put out a statement that kind of clears up some clues as to what has been happening to Bruce Willis. Their statement, quote, "To Bruce's amazing supporters, as a family, we wanted to share that our beloved Bruce has been experiencing some health issues and has recently been diagnosed with aphasia, which is impacting his cognitive abilities. As a result of this, and with much consideration, Bruce is stepping away from the career that has meant so much to him." Bruce Willis retires from fucking acting. He's 67 currently. He's been acting for about 4 decades. Since the 80s, worldwide, his movies have grossed over $5 billion. He's been nominated for 5 Golden Globes. He won 1 for Moonlighting, 3 Emmys, also winning for Moonlighting and the Friends role. But suddenly, these memes that I've seen of people screen capping Bruce Willis movies and going like, look, he's reading from cards here. Look, over here, someone is clearly feeding him lines. Like all his bad acting suddenly made sense. It was so bad. The Razzies this year, I don't know if you knew this, they created a whole worst Bruce Willis movie category just for the Razzies, which they recently have rescinded and taken back. They did that before, and they were like, well, even Kevin Smith is like, I feel bad for giving him shit about Cop Out now. But Anthony, reaction to this, like one of, Die Hard, arguably one of the greatest action movies of all time. It's kind of sad and just crazy. Yeah, I mean, if you look up the disease, I'm not going to get into the specifics of it because I don't really know it, but it looks pretty sad and a pretty sad end. Can't really understand human language anymore, speak it. As far as his career towards the end, I don't think anyone's going to remember that. Yeah, we're talking about it now. I didn't know that this career had happened. Right. I'd like to think about Bruce Willis as his career prior, and his career prior is pretty legendary. Absolutely. I think, we should talk about you guys can get into your thoughts on Bruce Willis, but I think we should talk about what our favorite Bruce Willis movies are real quick. Because it's more than just Die Hard. Die Hard's not the only movie he's ever done. No, absolutely. It spans a whole bunch of genres. And So, Ruggs, what was your reaction when you heard this news?
Well, I was like, oh, wow. I'm like, that makes perfect sense. I'm like, it can't be that he didn't give a fuck anymore. There has to be a reason. Because he's like, he usually, when he shows up for a movie, at least he gives a shit most of the time. Or he's got enough natural talent that he could sell whatever he's doing. So when you're watching, I watch a lot of bad movies, I see Frank Grillo is in it and I'm like, oh, Bruce Willis is in this too. And then I see him kind of barely saying the lines and people were saying, oh, he looks like he's sleepwalking through this. And I'm like, oh, it makes sense. I'm like, and then that's when I started to feel bad. I was like, oh, wow. He's probably trying to cash in, so he can kind of just go off into the sunset.
Well, my question is, was it him or his management, against his wishes, still putting him out? Or was it him saying, let me do as much as I can while I
don't know. I'm not there, but I don't even know when this started affecting him.
So
I really don't know.
Here, let me share some crazy stories. This has not become overnight. This has kind of been known over the past few years on these movies that he's worked with. Couple of the stories, and they're crazy stories. So Mike Burns, who directed him in Out of Death, he was asked to reduce Bruce's page count by 5 pages, abbreviate his dialogue, take out all the monologues, and he saw right away there was something, wrong. He had to shoot 25 pages of all of Bruce's parts in one day, right? Another movie, White Elephant, Jesse V. Johnson directed, and it was clear to him that Bruce was not the same person he remembered. Okay, so the Times reported that Bruce Willis's film shoots were limited to 2 days in recent years, but reportedly Bruce could only show up to do 4 hours instead of the 8 hours. Someone was with him constantly. They would feed him lines through an earpiece. And then this one, we just had this, the Alex Baldwin Rust shooting disaster tragedy. In January 2020, on the set of the movie Hard to Kill, Bruce fires a loaded gun with a blank on the wrong cue. He was supposed to give his actor, the girl accused a duck, and she was facing, her back was facing to him, and he forgot to deliver the line and fired the blank. Thankfully, nothing happened. But you could see now how, without disclosing this and still doing movies, this could get kind of dangerous. So these stories about how, the thing is, if people knew, Hollywood is full of secrets, right? This is another fucking secret. Like, nobody was going to say shit, even if it was getting dangerous or it was going to threaten somebody's life.
Is his real name Idar Oberstein?
Who, Bruce Willis?
I don't even know.
What?
I'm looking at the Google about him.
Oh, no, that's where he was born.
No,
Brooks.
yeah, that's where what the hell?
He was
born in Germany?
He was born in, Walter Bruce Willis is his full name. Born in West Germany. Yeah, Idar Oberstein.
Oh. Well, what's your guys' favorite? I mean, what's your favorite Bruce Willis films?
Last Boy Scout, Fifth Element, Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. Oh, he's great in Pulp Fiction.
Of course, the diehards are of course Unbreakable.
Unbreakable and Glass. Even though Glass sucked, it was great to see him.
Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense is another big one.
What about Color of Night? You guys seen that one?
Oh, that one has some.
That's a weird fucking movie.
That has a hot girl in there.
He's good in Sin City. Did you say Sin City? I liked him in Sin City.
You see his dick in Color of Night.
Oh, yes, I did.
That's something you want to see.
Oh, yeah, he's in Looper. I loved him in Moonlighting. I remember watching Moonlighting, and it was really funny. And he also had a musical career. Remember, he plays the harmonica. He had the blues band.
People forget now because of Die Hard, but in like all the other action movies he's kind of been in. But before Die Hard, he was just a TV actor, and it was like a big thing that they had cast Bruce Willis in Die Hard.
I mean, he did change the body type of your action hero, right? It goes immediately from your Stallone or Schwarzenegger to guys more like Bruce Willis, and
he did a good job too of like picking films after that kind of like he did different stuff. He didn't just stay within his lane of. He didn't just want to be the next Schwarzenegger. You know, he was doing interesting stuff and picking interesting directors to work with.
He's had some stinkers too, like Hudson Hawk for years was just like, this is the absolute worst movie.
That's like a cult movie now,
it's like the worst movie ever made was Hudson Hawk, allegedly. But no, even Pulp Fiction, he's great. 12 Monkeys? 12 Monkeys is a fantastic movie.
Yeah, but if you look at like, what I'm trying to get is if you look at like the list of directors he's worked with, it's a very eclectic list of directors.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, he does Armageddon type movie, and then he does like Fifth Element, which is completely different directors.
Completely different.
Whole Nine Yards
Sixth Sense,
is great.
He did. Yeah, he did. Unbreakable. Yeah, Whole Nine Yards. I mean, you just go on through the list of movies he's done. It's just all over the map.
He has done a shit ton of movies, and then his career gets really weird at the end. But it's just, you can't help but feel sad for him. I'm glad he's taking time for himself and recognizes.
Hey, well, he's had a bunch of great movies. He's had a great career. And he is an icon.
100%.
And it's, he could have stuck around a little longer, probably, but, it's still, he got to 67 before he retired. That's pretty good.
There's still, what is this? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's still like 8 Bruce Willis movies that are in post-production that probably will come out.
Oh, they're definitely coming.
Which is kind of crazy now to watch those after this announcement.
Like, when did you think, what was the last movie that you saw with Bruce Willis? Like, that wasn't like on TV late at night. Like you were actually like, was it the Split? Or was
it was Glass. We reviewed
Glass,
it.
Right?
Glass was the last kind of like big high profile movie I think I saw that he did.
Split. No, Glass. You're right. You're right.
Glass came afterwards. And
that was like the last big thing that we were like all,
yeah, we reviewed it on the show, and it wasn't a great movie, but he was good and he was fine. He didn't appear to show any signs of anything, At that point, that's 2018.
Whatever they did, they curated it. So it was like, I saw Death Wish, which is right before Glass.
Is that like a remake of a
remake of a Charles Bronson?
The Bronson movies, yeah.
And how
was that?
That was fine. Yeah, he didn't really talk a lot either. There was no like big soliloquies in that one either. No monologuing. I think the last I don't know. I'm trying to think of the last movie where he was really like Gabby. I can't remember.
I mean, a lot of the Die Hard films, I didn't see the like A Good Day to Die Hard. Is this that one? I mean, he's pretty. That's in 2013. He's Bruce. He's John McClane.
Yeah,
in that,
yeah.
So.
John McClane,
G.I. Joe right after he does
one of the
that.
most iconic action stars, still John McClane. Did anybody see Red and Red 2? I heard those were okay. I think I heard
Those are
were
fine.
okay. Yeah.
And they're using the Expendables, right? So,
Yeah, he's one of the Expendables.
yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the. Everyone talks, and we'll eventually do it. I've been on the '80s track, and he's one of the guys that belongs on that Mount Rushmore of guys from that era that was everlasting.
What do you think is his best acting of all time?
Oh, man.
I mean, Sixth Sense is pretty fucking good.
Sixth Sense he's very good in that. I think he's great in Pulp Fiction. Like, he just fits into that world. I mean, he's playing a boxer, but I just love him in Pulp Fiction.
Some of these dramas I haven't seen, so if you guys have seen these.
Oh, 12 Monkeys, I would say.
12 Monkeys is very good. He was funny on that Friends episode when he showed up as, I forgot if somebody was dating him or somebody's father. But it's just crazy and sad. Poor Bruce.
Yeah, it's sad.
He was great as the baby and Luke was talking. I'll tell you that.
Oh,
much.
that's right. He was the voice with, who did was that Christy Alley? No, Christy Alley was in the movie. Then there was a girl baby, but he was the voice in Look Who's Talking.
Yeah, that's right.
Hilarious.
He's been like in a couple of cartoon
Roseanne
voices
Barr
too.
was the other voice.
Oh, it was Roseanne and Bruce. The Siege. Just an amazing career. Definitely legendary, iconic actor, and he can rest now. It's okay.
Well, he's not dead.
He's not dead. I'm just saying
Jesus
he
Christ,
probably
I'm
should have retired like 2 years earlier.
He
It's
can
like-
go chill out and
Yeah.
freaking have boat drinks.
I'm just saying.
Apparently, the disease he has is, from what I've understood with people that work with speech pathologists, it's pretty sad. It might be a pretty tough life.
So,
towards the
yeah,
end.
so it says it can affect your speech as well, the way you write and understand both spoken and written language.
Yeah, well, hoping that with all the cash that he has, he can probably dull it a little bit and not have such a tough time. Hopefully,
Well,
sending good vibes to Bruce.
Absolutely.
cheap plug, but we'll see where Bruce ranks in our eventual '80s showdown.
Yeah, I mean, Die Hard generally wins a lot of like the top best 80s action movie ever.
If I was putting money down right now, without knowing your complete opinions on everything,
Yeah.
I think Die Hard would be one of the favorites to win this. So
Absolutely. It's definitely going to be up there. It has to be.
yeah.
Once we stack it up.
it might be a number one seed in the tournament.
Oh, man, I can't wait for the 80s action movie tournament. March Madness. I'm all about the March Madness.
It's April. I'm right.
Oh, whatever. I'm going to dress up and wear my headbands and have pom-poms and everything.
Yeah, and then at some point during that show, you have to be on video and slowly take off your shirt. Like you have to have a shirt that you can take off that's like buttoned up or rope.
I can just
that you
rip
can just
open?
easily like slide it off. Yeah,
Okay, I'm not sure how
because you're
that...
ready for a fight.
that-
yeah.
Oh, I see. That's right. Then I'll be ready. That's right. Once you take your shirt off and you're all oiled up, you're
Yeah,
ready for an
you're ready to
80s
go.
action movie fight. Gotcha. All right. Well, listener...
Well, what Bruce Willis did is he made it okay not to have to take off your shirt
Yeah,
like that. You could
yeah.
just wear a dirty tank top.
And he was
Yeah.
one of the first before Vin Diesel, the bald man.
Oh, yeah.
you know?
He's totally pre-Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel stole his look. Absolutely.
Yeah, Bruce Willis was doing that shit, was going bald way before anybody else.
Yeah, that's right. Shave it off.
And not slapping people, but making jokes about it.
You didn't have to be a giant bodybuilder to
Yeah.
be an action movie star.
And he put Jersey on the map, so East Coast
Yeah.
represent. So, yeah.
East Coast.
And he put Germany on the map since he's was born there. I don't know.
Yes,
He put
sure.
Germany on
No,
the
I don't know.
Well, I think Germany's on the map for other reasons.
Germany is on a map.
Unfortunately.
Already there. Listener, let us know
Germany on
what
the map.
your favorite Bruce Willis movie is. Join our Facebook group. It's called Jock and Nerd Nation. It's an exclusive. It's an
Explosive.
explosive diarrhea
oh.
group. No, an exclusive closed group. I smushed those two words together.
Exclusive diarrhea.
Exclusive diarrhea, only geek diarrhea, only in our Facebook group. Wow, what an endorsement. Closed just for our listeners, just for you. Join it. Geek out.
Couldn't have said it wronger.
Couldn't have said it wronger myself. Let's get to the first review. It is for the latest Marvel Disney Plus TV series, Moon Knight, Episode 1. Here are your spoilers.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
This episode is titled The Goldfish Problem. And this is this the fourth episode series or fifth?
This is no, I think this is the 6th.
The 6th. Oh, if I'm counting What If too, yeah.
Count What If. Yeah.
Yes.
5th live action.
5th live action.
But What If is technically canon. So
Yeah, that's true. But this is the first live action show that is introducing a completely new character into the MCU, whereas the others,
based on a new character.
The
other ones introduced, but they weren't based on it.
They did introduce, but you had people you knew before. Moon Knight in the comics, created by Doug Mensch and Don Perlin. First appearance, Werewolf by Night, number 32 in 1975.
That's right.
He's a year older than I am.
Right.
Old. Anthony, episode 1, Goldfish Problem. Break it down. What happens in the Moon Knight?
Yeah, this is an introduction to the Moon Knight. We meet Stephen Grant, who is from London, or maybe from England. Yeah. I don't know where, really. I don't know where that is. Seems like London. And he suffers from having episodes where he thinks he's sleepwalking and doing things, so he's kind of a fuck up because of this. He's fallen asleep on the bus. He's always late for his job. He doesn't remember that he's setting up dates with women and setting up steak dinners when he's a vegetarian. And he's just all screwed up, and he's trying to not really figure out. He's trying to just stave off doing these things, and he has things in his apartment that are trying to basically notify him if he's been sleepwalking. And he comes to find out that not only is he sleepwalking, but he's getting himself into situations that are really crazy. And he's involved with this, I would say, Waco-like figure.
Yeah,
I forget the guy that from Waco.
Cult leader.
Yeah, cult leader. And there's this cult leader that is working through Amit to judge people, an Egyptian god. And apparently Steven's coming to find out that he's not really who he is. He's got multiple personalities. One of his personalities is a mercenary named Mark Spector, and he's got another personality, or maybe another thing inhabiting him, named Khonshu, which is an Egyptian god. So he's basically in the midst of figuring this all out while also being involved with fighting this cult leader, who is also enamored with gods, or has a little bit more knowledge of the gods, and they're waging a battle. And we're kind of trying to figure this all out as we go along with Steven.
Yeah, it is kind of a mind fuck episode set up. Of course, Oscar Isaac playing Mark Spector / Stephen Grant. And you got Ethan Hawke as the cult leader, Arthur Harrow. And F. Murray Abraham as the voice of Khonshu.
Oh, the idiot is back.
Go back to sleep. So great. His voice reminded me of like a more intelligent Venom. It's kind of funny, but it was hilarious to hear it. And then, so this episode the show's written by Jeremy Slater, who you may know from writing 2015's Fantastic. But also the Umbrella Academy. And he's written 6 episodes of this series. What did you think, Anthony, overall so far?
I watched it twice.
So did I.
Because I have noticed that by watching these on Wednesday and then not revisiting them,
you got to watch them again.
I forget everything. Yeah. Even if I like the episode, I forget everything.
Yeah, just time and age.
Yeah, time and age. That'll get you.
That'll get
old.
Yeah.
I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a good first episode. I like that it's a new character. And Chris Stuckman said this, and I agree. It felt like for the first time in these TV shows that Marvel was actually like, oh, we have a new character.
Mm-hmm.
We need to actually hook you in a little bit.
Yeah.
You can't just rely on it being like a 6 or 7 episode movie where you're just going to tune in anyways. And I agreed with that. There's a little bit of mystery there. There's a little bit of unraveling. It kind of ends, and you see part of the mystery, but you're not, fully. It's not a complete origin or anything like that. And I really enjoyed it. I felt like there were I liked Stephen Grant. I think he's a little different than a lot of the Marvel heroes we get. He's not this charismatic guy that anyone really wants to be.
Yeah.
He's not even like a loser, like how Marvel typically portrays losers, like Bruce Bruce Banner, who's like super smart, so you're not really a loser.
Right.
Or Tom Holland, Spider-Man, you're getting girls, you're not really
those
a
are not
loser.
losers,
He's
yeah.
actually like a fucking loser.
Yeah.
Like he's being berated by a gift shop
He works
manager.
at he's like, I'm a gift shopist. He
Yeah.
works at a gift shop at the museum.
So I enjoyed that. I think it's a little bit of a different flavor, and we'll get to learn more about him. I also enjoyed that it has. I wrote down 2 movies that it reminded me of. It reminded me a little bit. Well, obviously, other than Venom, so 3 movies. It reminded me when he wakes up in the grass in Germany. He's like his jaw's all broke. I'm like, this reminds me of the scene in Memento when freaking what's that actor's name?
Guy Pearce.
Guy Pearce is running and he doesn't know if the good guys are chasing or if he should be chasing them.
He's just-
I'm like, this is exactly.
Oh
because
my
he like
God.
waves at the bad guys.
Yeah.
He's like, oh hello,
Hi. And the other guy's
And
like,
then they
what are you
start
waving
shooting
it
at
for?
So that reminded me of that, and then it also had kind of the Fight Club vibes, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Yep.
I thought Fight Club. I thought Venom. I like that other Memento is definitely a good one too because you're dealing with memory loss with multiple personalities. I think
one just quick thing, and then you guys can go. Is I think they have a palette here where they can go in a lot of different directions because Moon Knight is street level.
Yeah.
But then if you really want to go like to the Egyptian stuff, you can go fantasy, and I think they have. There's not really like a definitive Moon Knight story that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
So they're able to kind of take pieces of that and kind of have fun with the fun aspects of all of this to make something. And I think they started out with a good first episode.
Yeah, a solid first episode. I think I don't know about Ruggs, but I have not read a lot of Moon Knight. I only read his stories occasionally when he crossed paths with Spider-Man. So Ruggs, have you read a lot of Moon Knight, and what did you think of this first episode?
It's hard for me to remember because so Moon Knight's like a tough nut to crack because all right, you have so many like they've started and stopped Moon Knight so
there's
many
different
times.
versions. And,
So like they would start him up and then all of a sudden some bullshit would happen at Marvel and then they would start it over again. And each time that they would start it over, they would like either fine tune it or do away with some stuff. So the characters for the most part stay the same. And the main bad guy is the Bushman. He usually appears and reappears like all the time. But power levels change. Like sometimes Khonshu like abandons him.
Right.
And so he's just a dude.
Right.
But sometimes Khonshu's there and he can kick ass and like he can do like otherworldly stuff. They've recently added like more personalities to him. And we're going to see that because I know we saw something alluding to it. But basically, Stephen Grant in the comics is like the Bruce Wayne character.
Yeah, this is a way different take. And I think it's smart that they did this change.
I think they flipped it with the other guy, Jake Lockley, who's supposed to be like this poor cab driver. Cause like, you have, he assumes, Mark Spector assumes 2 personalities. One to take the mercenary money that he has and use it like a rich person and like kind of hide the money. And then Jake Lockley is like the ear to the ground street level guy that like hears about all the fucking like, goings on so Moon Knight can appear. And Khonshu is there to like he's possessing him so he could like basically the way the origin is that Mark Spector is like close to death. He fights Bushman somewhere and then he's about to die and Khonshu's like, I'll let you live. I'll bring you back to life, but I need to be able to take over your body whenever the fuck I want to like, to dispel vengeance.
Yeah.
And so he's like, all right, cool. So he's basically like alive because this Egyptian god is possessing him. And so I don't know if that's going to be revealed in the show or whatever, but that's what the story in the comics is.
Initially, were his personalities actual disguises and not like separate personalities?
So a different whenever they restarted the thing, they would take it another level. They sometimes they would make him more like Batman with gadgets and shit. And sometimes they would make him more like supernatural, like with the Midnight Suns when he was hanging out with those dudes. So I think somewhere in the 80s, they started making him insane.
Right. I think
and they revealed that all of these characters were actually figments of his imagination. And he never even got possessed by a demon or a god. So, they kind of start and stop. So it's hard for me to know which way they're going. And like the fact that they even switched the character of Steven to like some guy who's working in a gift shop. I don't know where it's going to go. I just know that Khonshu is the guy that's the conduit for Moon Knight. So, and that's all I know. And then we haven't seen the Bushman. This character that,
Arthur Harrow is from the comics, but he is only in one issue of a Moon Knight comic.
Yeah, they tried to make like a Joker character.
Oh, okay.
Like, not really, but like, you know how the Joker's got the permanent smile?
Yeah.
Like, this character in the comics has like a permanent, like frozen face.
Weird.
And, like, in a snarl. So I don't see that happening. I don't think they're going to do that. If they do, that'd be weird. But, yeah, so Moon Knight is like tough to like compare it to canon because, as I said, they start and stop a lot. The constant thing is the Egyptian god and Bushman is his bad guy. Sometimes his brother is the bad guy. He has a brother that like he fights with every once in a while. He disappears and reappears. And yeah, and that's basically it. And Set is the other one, which is the opposite god to Khonshu.
Oh, Set.
So,
right. Okay.
So sometimes Khonshu would be like, oh, Set, I got to go fucking fight the avatar, whoever's the avatar of Set. And they would fight each other. So that's basically, in a nutshell, Moon Knight.
Well,
So,
what'd you think of how they do it here?
well, as I said, I was like, oh, Stephen Grant's not this guy. But then I was like, okay, fuck it. Like, they're doing something with it. And I liked it. It's fun. I like F. Murray Abraham as Moon Knight's voice. I liked all the gags that they did.
He's really funny. Like, the Stephen Grant character was hilarious. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I like the jump scares and I like the horror vibe of it and everything. I'm still not 100% on the costume, but like the face is the only thing that bothers me more than anything. But like, it looks too much like a mummy. But like, I guess I know what they're going for, the Egyptian god thing. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
You know, when they tease, it ends with the brief look at the costume.
From what I've heard, every episode it gets better.
Yeah, I heard. So they released the first 4 to critics, and there's like a big crazy thing that happens at 4, and then they're like 5 and 6 gets even nuts, and you know it's gonna make you question everything you've seen. So like, is any of this even really happening? Like maybe this is all in his head. There's so many things I loved about the episode. I love how we talked about they're using Stephen Grant as our point of view instead of Mark Spector from the get-go. I think it works really well because now you are going through the same like feelings that he is going through. The scenes of him blacking out and waking up in the middle of the action scene are fantastic. I mean, he's in the truck and he blacks out. He wakes up. He's driving fucking backwards. I'm like, oh, what is going on here? And will we ever get to see? Will they ever go back and show us that, or you think they'll just keep moving forward and let you just think about it in your head?
I think they might.
Yeah.
But I don't think they should.
Right?
Like in Fight Club when he has that flashback and he sees all the shit that he did.
And he sees himself there as Tyler Durden.
But the imagination of now, like, of not knowing what he did and like how good of a mercenary Mark Spector is, I think really helps
he
that.
blacks out and straight up murders people out in the open and has no idea what the fuck has happened.
What's really fun about that scene is he's blacking out and he's being a mercenary. Like whenever he needs to, Mark Spector takes over. Yeah. I think it's Mark Spector. I was trying to think about it. It's not Moon Knight that's taking over. It's Mark Spector. Oh, he's not switching costumes.
Right. Moon Knight would be the guy in the costume.
At the end.
Yeah.
Very end. Okay. But I think what was fun about it, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys enjoyed it, but the fact that they're playing "Wake Me Up Before You Go" while this is all happening. I had to mention the great music, Wham! George Michael and Wham! And the other guy's name, nobody knows. It doesn't matter. But what an appropriate song. And he's driving a truck with a cupcake on it while this is all happening. Like it's all so bizarre.
I love he throws the gun, and Khonshu's like, "Did he just throw the gun?
Did he just throw the gun?
Like, what are you doing?"
It's funny when you do commentary like that. You use that vehicle to do commentary. It is like kind of like Venom though, because
it is a little bit.
You like have this thing that's constantly there, that's always commenting, that's kind of always in the background, and it works in Venom, so it should work here.
Yeah, that's probably one of the good, like, the only things that people like when people like Venom, they really latch on to that.
Yeah, the talking to each other, the
inner monologue with them not agreeing.
I wonder if they're gonna do Mr. Knight.
They are. There's photos of him as Mr. Knight. So
where he's in all white.
he's
in his
wearing a
suit.
suit.
Yeah.
Yes,
Kind of like a detective Rorschach-y type person.
So
you know?
I'm wondering how many more personalities we're going to see Mr. Knight, but are we also going to see Jake Lockley? Because if you look at the end credits, there's a lot of shots where they're splitting his head into 3. The reflections, man, the whole
there's
time.
There's like 5 total, right?
I think so.
Moon Knight, Mr. Knight, Jake Lockley, Stephen Grant, Mark Spector.
Yeah.
Unless there's like a female one or something.
They can. Well, I don't. Well, they can go. I mean, they can go if that's one of his things. They can go in a lot of directions in terms of expanding the amount of personalities he has. Like they could go full split.
I feel like that they have to be unique enough that each one has like a strength. I don't know what Steven's strength is at this point.
No, well,
he knows about.
I don't know why they create Steven, but I feel like it's the other personalities are trying to obviously keep him in the dark because they need someone like him to not know what the fuck's going on. Because if you think about
Well, that's
it,
part of the mystery.
yeah, why?
What is the use of Steven?
What is the use of Stephen Grant? I mean, it's
That's the thing. Like, Mark Spector is a mercenary. He's
Right.
got like he's bad. So people like he needs somebody who's squeaky clean. So that's why Steven was
he
created.
needs a whole nother personality.
and then he needed somebody else to kind of be like the everyman.
right.
Yeah.
And I think, I guess that's what Steven could be, the everyman. I guess.
But like what they're keeping Stephen in the dark on purpose because he just can't do anything.
Not only are they keeping him in dark, but they're clearly probably Mark is controlling Steven because Mark is. I listened to Screen Crush and that they're right. Mark is sending the postcards to Steven of his mom.
Oh,
'Cause every time he's on the phone with his mom, it's like a voicemail. He's like, "Oh, hey, Mom."
yeah. Later, skaters. Yeah,
later,
He
skaters.
never was actually talking
But
to her.
there's a shot of him with the postcards on his fridge.
Yeah.
But then there's a shot of those same postcards at the museum.
That's right, because he's probably buying them from the museum, sending them to himself. You also notice, his elaborate setup with the sand and the tape and the.
How is he getting out?
He gets out and he puts everything back, so Steven thinks he hasn't gone out, right?
How does he get the? That's what I would assume, right? Is that he's getting out and he's putting the sand back, but then he's using.
Well, you could just walk over the sand. You don't
You
need
could
to
just
walk.
jump over the
I mean,
sand. But
if he wakes up as someone else, he could just take the thing off.
Yeah.
And then just go out the window as Moon Knight.
And is it like how much control do they have? Is it just in times of stress where he blacks out and Mark takes over?
I guess that makes sense because Steven thinks that he's just he's just sleepwalking. He doesn't realize that there's these other personalities.
Right, until
the other personalities are clearly aware of Steven and they're like, "You're an idiot.
Yeah.
We already know what's going on."
Back to sleep, worm.
The goldfish dies and he replaces it.
With
and
them,
that's why he thinks it's a different goldfish.
two
or-
fins.
And Steven is setting this lock on his foot.
Yeah.
But thinking like, "Oh, I wouldn't like undo that in my sleep."
It's a combination
He
lock,
doesn't
too.
realize
Yeah.
that Mark Spector knows the lock because he's in Steven's head.
Because he's him. Yeah. It's kind of crazy. And I'm like, it's so fascinating to see what the rules are and how this works. I love, they also played a Bob Dylan song in the beginning, which is great. The beginning cold open, I found out the whole part where Ethan Hawke's Arthur Harrow he drinks out of the glass. He smashes the glass and then he puts the glass in his shoes to walk around. Apparently that was Ethan Hawke's idea, but just to set up this like religious penance tone and like almost citing a bunch of religions. He's drinking like holy water. The smashing the glass is like what you do at a Jewish wedding when you get married under the chuppah. And then like when he put the glass in his shoes, it reminded me of Shiite Muslims do a form of self-flagellation, and they'll like whip themselves or hit themselves on the forehead, but there's always the self-flagellation, and I just love like this heavy religious cult feel.
Ethan Hawke's doing. I was trying to think of the name when I was describing it earlier in the summary, but he was inspired by David Koresh.
Yes, very
in his portrayal.
yeah, very David Koresh, absolutely. And
what do you guys think of Ethan Hawke?
I'm not really too hot on it, to be honest with you, but I love Ethan Hawke. I think he's a good actor.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping I just don't like this tattoo on his forearm that fucking moves.
The
I'm like,
tattoo
this is stupid.
decides if you live or die, according
I don't
to
like
the god
that.
Emmett.
I think it's dumb. I think it's dumb that this guy, you got all these Egyptian gods, but no Egyptian people. Doesn't that bother you?
Well, there's an
I don't know.
Egyptian director, Mohammed Diab, and apparently they did go. He said, "I'm trying to make this authentically." When it gets to that point, Egyptian. There are Egyptian cast members. Their names are very Egyptian, I think. So I think we'll see it later.
All right,
Well,
cool.
I wouldn't say I was over the moon about it, but I did like that where the character was going, and that I like villains that think they're the hero in their own story.
Yeah.
And I can follow somewhat. Obviously, not. I don't think that Egyptian gods are going to take over my body, but I can follow his line of thinking of when he describes Amit being around. He's like, if Amit was just around, like Hitler would have not been around, Pol Pot, like all this stuff. Like Amit would have seen that these people were capable of sin and killed them.
So Amit is the bad guy in this. Usually it's Set. So what's the what's Amit's big thing? Is it? I don't know anything about Amit.
I think from what I gathered, Amit would judge if you were good or bad, and put to rest the bad people. But the rest of the Egyptian gods betrayed her because they thought she got a little like unwieldy with her power.
She was a demoness and goddess in ancient Egyptian religion with the forequarters of a lion, the hindquarters of a hippopotamus, and the head of a crocodile. The three largest man-eating animals known to ancient Egyptians. That's quite an image. Well, we saw like a demon dog thing.
That jackal.
It was the jackal. Yeah. The CGI in that was a little. It was all right, but I'd love seeing him beat the shit out of him. Yeah,
it was fine. They kept it in the dark. You didn't really.
It did what it needed to do. It was scary enough to feel like, oh shit.
Amit lived near the scales of justice in Duat, the Egyptian underworld. In the Hall of Two Truths, Anubis weighed the heart of a person against the feather of Mot, the goddess of truth, blah, blah, blah. So if the heart was judged not to be pure, Amit would devour it, and the person undergoing judgment was not allowed to continue their voyage towards Osiris and immortality.
You know what they do a really good job of, too, is by making this under Stephen Grant's perspective.
Yeah.
Like most everyone has been in a place where they've maybe gone a night or two with really bad sleep and they're falling asleep somewhere.
Yeah.
So everyone can kind of relate to him in terms of being late or like falling asleep in weird spots where it's just like, oh, like he just thinks that he just can't get enough sleep.
Right.
And this is what his issue is. He doesn't actually realize what's really fucking going on here.
I mean, he wakes up screaming in a bus, like in motion. Like, what happened before that? What did people see? And the date scene was so sad that he's, like you said, he ordered the steak anyways, even though he's vegan.
All he needs to do is go to a group therapy meeting and hug a guy with big boobs.
Yes, with the meatloaf. Get in here.
The steak, even he was like, yeah, I'll have a steak.
I'll have the best.
What would you like? The best bits.
The best bits.
How would you like that done?
Great.
Really good.
Really good. He doesn't even know how to order.
So you'll have it well done.
Yeah, sure.
All right, whatever.
But man, just the whole where the reflections start moving and talking back to him, and the way they use the reflections in the whole episode, that shit is frightening, and it was so well done.
Even the part where he calls the girl,
yes,
Lila,
yeah,
and he I was even confused with that in a good way, where he realized, he's like, why do you keep calling me Mark?
Why'd you call me Mark?
And then she hangs up on it. And I'm like, why does she hang up on it?
Because she's like,
if she realizes,
do they know that he has multiple personalities?
Yeah, I'm wondering what's going on. Like, why does she hang up if she thinks this is Mark and this is the first time she's got a hold of him in a long time?
So Layla and Duchamp was the other name. They're both from the comics, I believe. I think Layla is Mark Spector's wife or girlfriend.
Well, Marlene is his girlfriend in the comic books.
Oh, okay.
And then he's got someone, Duchamp, as they call him, Frenchie.
So he's probably his right-hand guy or has, his sidekick.
He's like the guy who always has the helicopter or, whatever.
Right.
He's comes in and
or the
swoops
Q,
in.
yeah.
Like the Sully from Uncharted, the guy who has.
Wait, is Duchamp in Black Widow?
Duchamp?
Is that guy?
No.
Yeah, no. What do you mean no? It's I'm talking about the guy when Black Widow when she calls for someone that needs she needs a helicopter, and it's a French guy.
Now I have to look this up. Is it the same person? Because there was, I thought it.
Someone was like,
is he the douche champ? Is he? Who is he?
Someone was like, Duchamp or whatever is an Easter egg.
It could be. It could be a Moon Knight Easter egg.
It's because they said this show isn't really going to connect to the larger MCU at all. They're trying to.
Did you look at Black Widow?
They're trying to. I'm pulling it up here. They're trying to just make it its own thing, right? So they don't have to worry; they can do whatever they want. But they could. There weren't a lot of Easter eggs. There were some. This may be one of them. I don't know, Anthony. Did you find it?
I can't find anything on it.
You know what's another great Easter egg in this? In the beginning of the episode, when he's talking to the little girl about how they pull the mummy's brains out of their nose with a hook and pull everything out. There's a QR code on the wall. If you scan that QR code, it takes you to a digital copy of that first appearance of Moon Knight, which you can read on Werewolf by Night, number 37. You can read that. And even then, she says she has a joke about, like, how did it feel when you got rejected from the field of reeds? And he's like, oh, that's funny. I'm not dead, though, you know? And so you're like, oh, they're already making fun of him not being dead. Is he awake? Is this even him?
What'd you think about the scene where he thinks he's getting chased by Khonshu in the elevator and the old lady walks in?
It was scary and then funny. Oh, and then she's all freaked out. And she's like, my friend lives here. I got to go. But yeah, great. Just the way they cut. I love the way Khonshu looks. Like that giant beak head thing is fucking, it's frightening. It's good.
Looking for my contact.
Yeah, in the comics, Khonshu always just look like Moon Knight with like an Egyptian headdress.
Oh, yeah. He has this like the same body. Like I like they gave him a big staff, made him bigger. But yeah, overall, saw the scarab scene where he's trying to give him the scarab and Mark is like not, and the physicality of that was amazing. Like it was really well done.
Yeah, and like, you know, when they would cut to him blacking out and then coming back, you would see the bodies and you're like, oh, yeah, there's like these people are busted up. He's like shooting these people in the head.
I mean, he just killed all these people. His hands bloody, the scarab's bloody. You're like, what the fuck just happened? Then I want to, I think leave it to the imagination is better than showing us until we need to. The Aeneid is a real thing. It is a deity of nine deities, a group of 9 deities in Egyptian mythology.
The only other couple things I wrote down was, why is that lady so mean to him?
The coworker,
the boss.
Yeah, you gotta have a shitty coworker. That's just.
She's like absurdly mean to him.
Yeah.
She's got an itchy crotch.
What do you think of his accent there? I've heard some British people comment that that accent is horseshit. A little bit. It's not very good.
I mean,
but I think
for me, it sounded fine.
It's funny.
I don't have a British. I've never had a British accent. I would say, in defense, if he's doing this if Mark Spector is doing this as a like, hideaway,
yep,
he's not actually British,
right.
So he's doing what he thinks would be a British accent.
It would be a bad British accent. Yeah. Right now,
it'd be like you doing a British accent.
Yeah, he's not really British in the show either.
What's that?
So it's okay.
Righto. And I also thought of another show, a Marvel TV show, Legion. Remember Legion, Rugs on FX?
Yeah.
Also dealt with mental illness. Yeah.
Multiple personalities
that they handled it really well.
That's right.
That show was very good and crazy and mindfuck. So I'm looking forward to 5 more episodes, more mind-bending mindfuckery on the Moon Knight. We'll see what happens.
I think it was the best. I think it's about the best first episode they've ever done.
Ooh. Better than WandaVision? That was a good first episode.
Well, WandaVision was also good, but it was such a contained, it was a 50s spoof.
Right. And it was shorter. Yeah.
So it was so contained that I was in from the start, but I think if you were a casual fan, one of my friends was like, why are they doing Dick Van Dyke?
I don't get it.
Episodes?
Yeah. No, you're right. This one, like, as just a show, it's someone to come into. Like, it's a great first episode, setting up the premise and the character and the tone. But
there's still more mysteries. Yeah. You kind of know who the villain is, but you don't really know what's really going on. You get a tease at the end of what he can be, but there's still, they set up enough where it's like, okay, this is something where if I was watching it on Netflix, I would go, all right, yeah, I'll watch
this episode 2.
So, we're in first episode early on. Do you think that there's going to be, based on what you've seen already, like implications in the larger Marvel universe with Moon Knight? Like, do you think he's going to appear in the Avengers? Do you think that, this character's got legs? What do you think? You don't know yet. It's too early to tell.
Yeah, it's early. I would say, judging by the first episode, I think they're going to go in a direction where I think eventually he'll be in the big MCU stuff. But I think I've already been building towards this Midnight Suns dark aspect, and I think that's where he's going to go
with like Punisher and Blade, maybe. And
Werewolf
I don't know
by
about
Night.
Punisher, but Blade for sure.
There's going to be a Halloween special,
Yeah,
right?
where
So we're
he'll have Werewolf by Night in that one.
Black, what's that?
Black
guy?
Knight?
Black Knight
Yeah.
probably be that way. So yeah, they're already kind of, and there's a lot of rumors that Nick Cage Ghost Rider will be
maybe Dark
Oh,
Avengers.
Oh, shit. No, I could see him making the leap to the... I mean, they gave Echo a spin-off show even before that show aired, so this is... he's got a whole suit here. Definitely...
I think Midnight Suns would be the appropriate title. Dark Avengers would be the ones where the Avengers go. It's the group of villains that go bad.
I would love
Right.
to see him tango with the Daredevil. He can... there's a bunch of characters
Well,
he can...
judging by who's writing him, as Ruggs kind of mentioned, he can be street level,
Yeah.
but then he can go supernatural.
Yeah.
So it really depends on where they want to take. Like, I'm not confident in saying that he's going to go full on scary side. Like they could do that where he teams up on the street level stuff. I have no idea. I think it's cool though. I think it's cool that we don't really have a place for him.
Doesn't the Sentry have the same problem? Do we have this problem with a lot of heroes?
The Sentry does have a problem where he thinks he's a normal guy and then morphs into the void and does evil shit.
Yeah.
Whoa,
we have
We've got guys dealing with issues in superheroes.
That's what happens.
Marvel's got some fucked up heroes.
So let me ask you this: was this different enough from the other shows, or is there still like a little Marvel formula in there, but doesn't really hurt it?
Well, if they're sticking with this Ethan Hawke bad guy, that is different enough from Moon Knight, like he doesn't seem to be the same side of the coin. Like, we're about to talk about one of the formulaic shit that we see. So I think that there's enough mystery between it. Like they introduced the bad guy right away. He's not created by him.
Yes, they're doing it at the same time.
We don't know yet if they're tied together. I mean, they're tied together because of Egyptian gods, but I mean, they're not like, he was my brother, or maybe he is. If that, then I won't know.
I thought that was interesting as we're getting the good
then
guys.
Ruggs will keel over and die. If that happens.
I'll just be like, fuck you. You had it in your hands, you fucks.
No, I love that they're giving us the bad guy along with the good guy developing, kind of side by side and together. So that's great. Yeah, I'm excited. I'll give me Geek Boner.
Geek boner.
Can't wait for the next one. It's going to be short and quick.
I wouldn't say, by the way, it was completely lacking of the Marvel touch.
Yeah.
As mentioned earlier, they played "Wake Me Up Before You Go" while he was in a cupcake truck being chased by villains.
Yes.
So there's definitely doses of the Marvel comedy, but I think there's enough things that we haven't seen that much of in Marvel so far, with the different personalities and kind of not knowing what's going on, some of the horror stuff. The Egyptian gods.
Yeah, all that's different. That's all.
All
new.
that's a little bit different flavor.
Yeah.
So I think so far, it seems a little bit different enough.
Yeah, the elements are there to play with to set it apart.
I mean, we're all always going to. It's still very PG-13.
Yeah, well,
I mean, there is a couple of guys that have their heads blown, but you don't see that much blood or anything. So
they got parental controls now. They can just do whatever they want. You just adjust your parental control.
I don't know how hardcore it's going to get, but I mean, it's good enough for now. Have you heard that Disney's like going back and like cleaning stuff up?
Well, no, there was the first story was like they were editing parts of Falcon and Winter Soldier, but then that was wrong because they had turned on some restrictions that they didn't mean to, and they turned it off, I think. I don't think they're doing that because why would you already released the show with all the blood in it. Doesn't make no sense to go back and now take it out when everybody's seen it. Like, what are you doing? Like, this is a waste of time. I don't think they meant to do that. I think it was something got switched, but that also makes me think,
how do you see something with no blood in it unless they made it?
That was my second question. I was like, that's weird then, because that means they shot these scenes with and without, with different amounts of blood in it for this reason on purpose. I don't know. Or did they do it in post somehow? But I saw the screenshots. Yeah, there was a completely different shot. But if you don't have the blood on what's his name's shield on the Captain America shield in that show, it loses the impact of that whole scene. Like that shit was violent.
Yeah, you need to see that stuff. I don't know.
I think this will get pretty dark and scary, so I'm enjoying the ride. Listener, visit our TeePublic shop if you want to get some cool Jock and Nerd swag like t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, cell phone cases, all with our logo or Rug Boy's face on it. jockandnerd.com/shop will get you there. Let's take a break here. We're going to play some promos and talk about another M movie. And that one is meh. You'll find out right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Dig on America.
Your organization's terrible.
Hey guys, this is Jason Dutch with Dig on America podcast, and I'm here with
Big Hops.
Do you have to say your name so weird?
How you want me to say?
And I'm also here with
Mikey Famine.
the excuser.
Do it over. No, it's staying.
No, it's staying the way it is because this is the way the show is. Dig on America here, we explore how American history, policies, and sometimes even our pop culture created the social and political issues facing Americans today. A little bit about us.
I'm your resident brother of the league. I love America so much that I demand she be better through constant criticism and protest. Thank you.
And in your Obama voice, Mikey, I don't like Obama.
Of course you don't. You also don't like bathing and healthy meals. What Dig on America is it's a healthy criticism of a country.
America's already perfect. You should know we're perfect just like my hands.
Well, I mean, a lot of people might say that, but those people probably haven't gone to school or brushed their teeth today. So, we're going to ignore them. But yeah, check out our show. It's unbeholden to any corporate overlords, except for Jay-Z, the Bilderberg Foundation.
George Soros sponsors.
George Soros, the Clinton Foundation.
Absolutely.
And let's not forget Emotep.
You can check out our website, digonamerica.com. You can check out all of our audio. We're on every single fucking audio podcast app there is out there, Pandora, Spotify, etc. Subscribe on YouTube. You can check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/DOA podcast. Hopefully you'll listen to the show, guys.
I won't.
Go fuck yourself.
Dig on America.
Doc and Nerd.
Listener, if you've been enjoying the show, now is a great time to join our awesome fan club. Visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon.
Doc and Nerd.
You can support the show and show your love.
Show your love.
Show your love back to all the entertainment value we've given over the 7+ years now. Big announcement. Thank you to this came in an email right before we started recording. Our newest $10 a month patron, Jose Gonzalez.
Wow.
Thank you, Jose.
What was
We
he at before?
appreciate- No, he's brand new.
Oh,
He signed up
wow.
at $10 a month.
Jose.
Jose, glad to have you. Couldn't be happier. Thank you. Jose gets to enjoy a host of fun things, like he gets access to our bonus podcast RSS feed, where we have more content. The shows come out early. And this week, Jose, you would have heard our instant reactions to Morbius. And Anthony, you put up a couple of more 80s movies reviews. What'd you watch this week?
Well, it was from last week. I mentioned it on the show, but just real quick, I did a Top Gun reaction, and I did
right.
Beverly Hills Cop 2 reaction.
Oh, you got the sequel in too, did you? There's a third one?
There's a third one. Well, with a theme with those two, though, I don't know if you knew this.
No.
Both directed by Tony Scott.
Oh, he did he did Beverly Hills Cop 2 as well. Oh. I love the Tony Scott. I mean, Tony Scott directed one of my favorite movies, True Romance.
Yeah,
That's
I'll
right.
just say that you made me watch that, and I've seen a couple Tony Scott films.
He's amazing.
And I'll say he's not my favorite.
No, you don't like the Tony? You got to watch Crimson Tide, the submarine movie. It's fantastic.
I like Tony Scott. The Last Boy Scout I got to watch, too.
That's a great Tony Scott movie. Yes, that'll be
You know
good.
what? Man on Fire is a great
That's
movie.
a good
that's
Tony
another
Scott
one
movie.
that
He's
good
just
things
full
about.
of style, man. His style, his
He loves
lighting.
the sun.
Yes, he loves the sun in the back and top-down lighting. Like, people are just lit with just, like, one light above them all the time. It's fantastic. So, Jose, you can check in all those out. Jose can also join us on our monthly Discord hangout just for our Patreon subscribers. Next month will be Thursday, April 21st. This month, sorry.
Who knows if
8
I'll be
p.m.
there.
Maybe Anthony will be there. Maybe Ruggs won't be asleep this time. He'll be awake to join us. You never
I'm
know.
so sorry about that.
You never know. Don't be sorry. It's fine.
What time was that being recorded? Oh, it's 6 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, I
you
was
were
sleeping.
asleep?
I was dead asleep, yes.
Oh, okay.
He gets tired.
Well, I drank a lot.
And then Jose,
Tough morning.
the $10 tier is the You Pick It tier. Jose can pick any movie he wants. Send it in. You use your pick wisely. Think about it, Jose. You can force us to review and watch any movie you want. Thank you so much for signing up. Be a Jose listener. Join us at jockandnerd.com/Patreon today. Okay, second M review. This one is Morbius, which will give us more BS. Here is your spoiler alert.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Prepare to be spoiled!
Another Marvel character created by Marvel Comics, Morbius' first appearance in the Amazing Spider-Man 101 way back in 1971. This is when Spidey had 4 extra arms and was a literal Spider-Man for like 2 issues.
That's right.
It was very strange. He is created by Roy Thomas and Gil Kane. And side note, I found this out very interesting. The reason they were able to create Morbius is the Comics Code Authority had just recently dropped their rules for supernatural creatures. Like you couldn't do.
It was satanic.
Yeah, they thought it was satanic. You couldn't do any kind of supernatural creature, and that went away. And so they create the living vampire. Also, I found out this Amazing Spider-Man 101, the first comic, Stan Lee did not actually like plot or write. He was busy writing some sci-fi movie that probably never got made. So Roy Thomas wrote the book and created Morbius. As far as the movie, this movie is brought to you by Sony/Columbia Pictures in association with Marvel. They make sure that you know it's just in association with Marvel. This is the third film in what Sony is calling their Sony Spider-Man universe, and when it's really Sony Spider-Man-less universe. And of course, famously, the movie delayed 7 times, clearly reshot, re-edited, chopped up a little bit. This trailer came out in January 2020. This is when the first trailer came out that we talked about. And here we are, over 2 years later.
Right before COVID.
Yes, just before the vid. On the Rotten Tomatoes, this is a doozy. 16%.
Oh, shit.
Currently, 3.8 out of 10. Tomato meter. Audience rating, 70%. This movie was made for $75 million budget. It opened to $39 million domestically. Now, they were estimating like $40 million. At first, it was 50. Then they said like 35 to 40. Worldwide, it's at about $83 billion. It met what they estimated this movie would open to. Is that good, though? I mean, it's $75 million. It's already made $88 million.
I don't think it's doing terrible.
It's not that bad, actually.
It's not a disaster.
Like this to do that well, that's they're probably.
I think they might
it.
end up either breaking even or making a little. It depends how these next couple of weeks go, but it's not a complete bomb at the box office based on the budget.
No, I think it opened at number 1. Now, next week, that Sonic sequel is coming out, and this thing has no chance. This movie barely had a chance even before it came out. We'll get to that. This movie directed by Daniel Espinosa, who you may know from directing movies such as Life in 2017.
David or Daniel?
Daniel. Oh. Daniel Espinosa. Has anybody seen The Life?
No.
With, I think, who's in this? Jake Gyllenhaal, Chris Pratt. No, not Chris Pratt. Ryan Reynolds. Sorry. I get them confused. Gyllenhaal, Ryan Reynolds, Rebecca Ferguson. I have not seen it either, but this is the movie a lot of people were like, this is like the origin of Venom at the end for some reason. It was kind of weird. And then there's another movie called Safe House that I heard he made is pretty good. He's not made a lot of movies, but those are the two. And Morbius is the latest. Also, a movie starring the Jared Leto as Michael Morbius, Matt Smith as his childhood friend / bad guy, Adria Arjona as the very underdeveloped love interest, and Jared Harris. Well, I love Jared Harris. He's in Foundation. He's a great actor. You also have Tyrese Gibson and Al Madrigal playing cops in this movie. And spoiler, yes, Michael Keaton's Adrian Toomes does show up. We'll get to that at some point in this movie. Not like how you were expecting or how they led us to believe.
I feel like you've laced your opinion into this entire reading of the cast.
I'm just reading the cast. This is just
he can't help himself.
This is just very subjective reading.
I don't know. I can't tell if you like this movie or not. Just by how you're reading the cast and previewing our eventual review of this.
Yeah, no, this is just straight facts. No, there's No opinions here.
You liked everything.
Anthony, tell us the plot, and then I want to get into our theater experience a little bit because it's hilarious. But what happens in the Morbius?
Morbius is about this man with some sort of disease who is orphaned and meets another child with the same disease, some blood illness. And the man named Michael Morbius grows up with this disease, but all of a sudden he really wants to cure it now. And he decides the best way to cure this is to capture bats and do some experiments on himself. He ends up doing the experiments on himself, becomes a living vampire with a thirst for blood, and has to kind of control that while also taking on his friend, who happens to also get a hold of this experimental cure and has gone the other way and is now evil. So Morbius is learning how to cope with this new reality while dealing with the fact that he inadvertently created a monster.
Yeah, there's some cops after him, and there's some female scientists that's into him. And how was your theater experience for this movie, Anthony?
Actually, I don't really have a story to tell. I went and saw it on a Sunday night. There were probably 15 people in the theater.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, really, Sunday night, a Sunday night crowd, I don't think ever is all that great.
Yeah.
And this one was, fine. No one really said anything. No one clapped. No one laughed. It was what I would think I would expect for a Sunday night. So don't really have a story there.
So, I went to see it Thursday, right? And usually you can tell immediately the theater I go to, the hype for a movie, when you roll up into the fucking parking lot. And for like Spider-Man No Way Home, but Thursday night, packed parking lot. I had to park all the way in the back. I roll up on this one. I get there's a spot right up front. It's barely wide open, right? And then I go in and I sit down and there's maybe 20 people in the audience. And I knew it was going to be bad because I sat down and my balls got hot.
My balls was hot.
I think that's never a good sign when you sit down to watch a movie. But I was just laughing at the memes of empty theaters at opening weekend. And I was like, you know what? That is fucking accurate. So clearly, nobody wanted to see this. Ruggs, anything happen?
Did you take your pants off, though, when your balls were hot?
You have to. My ball. That's why I travel with a spare set of pants always, because my balls get hot. Just take them off. Ruggs, how was your theater experience?
My balls were not hot, but I was in an almost empty theater. There's probably 15, 20 people.
That's crazy. Yeah. Okay.
Easy parking job. No problems there.
Lots of elbow room, too, in the theater.
Sure.
Another bonus.
Yeah. And, it was kind of like I was watching a movie that's been out for months already.
A movie that's on its last few weeks of its run is what this felt like in the beginning. Okay, Ruggs, you didn't send it an instant reaction, so I'm going to start with you. Instant reaction. Start us off.
My instant reaction when I was watching the movie, and I was going, this is fucking the worst written movie or edited together movie I've seen in a long time. But for some reason, I'm going along with it because I don't know, I kind of like some things that are going on in the movie. And then the post-credit scenes come on, and I'm like, fuck this movie. Fuck these people.
Fuck that show.
This is so stupid. And I'm like, you guys are just dumb. Like, who the fuck was working at Sony? Like, somehow something worked enough for me that I was willing to watch this movie without leaving in the middle of it. I was like, all right, I'm going to stick around and see how this pans out.
At least it kept you. That's good.
Yeah. But and then at the end, they just slap you in the fucking face with a smelly fish. I got slapped with a mackerel. And I was like, this fucking, why? It just woke me up to the fact that this is the dumbest movie I've seen in a while. It's sad because I actually enjoyed little scenes, like the scene on the ship, even though it made no sense. I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
And
when he kills everyone. Yeah.
I liked the general idea of a lot of this stuff, but I don't know what it meant. I like the possibilities, but I don't know. It just kind of went by the wayside. Just everything they had, they just kind of it slipped through their fingers, and it was a hot mess, but I kind of enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed Venom, even though Venom had that extra comedic thing
Right.
going for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. They just keep doing the same fucking thing over and over. This formulaic bullshit where like it's his friend and they have the same powers and they got to fucking fight each. And his friend gets the powers, knows how to use them better and fucking and
right away. Yeah.
doing all this shit and like it's just like it's the same Marvel fucking formula they do every time. But this time the story was incoherent. Like, I have no idea what Jared Leto was doing with those. Was he capturing the bats at the beginning of the movie?
I don't know what.
Like, why was there a harp there?
Right.
Like, I don't understand.
Was he going to play him a concerto? What were those strings?
I wrote that down too. I was like, how the hell did he capture all those bats?
Yeah, what is this device? It makes no sense. They're flying right past you.
So he went there to get the bats so he could experiment on the bats.
Yeah.
But there's no reason why he's got to cut his hand open and like all of that's just for theater, I guess. But like. For theatrical, whatever. I didn't get any of that stuff. I feel like they could have explained that. They just kind of like everything felt like very forced. Like Jared Leto was fine, right?
He was fine. He was nothing special, but
Matt Smith was actually fine.
He was fun to watch. You could tell he's having a ball in this. Matt Smith, over the top, hamming it up a little.
None of they never even go like, why is he rich? This kid, does he come from a rich family?
It makes no sense. Yes, they don't explain that. Yeah.
Like
what is this disease they have?
He has this lab. He has this lab that he does experiments in that like no one goes into, but he just like comes and goes in the middle of a hospital. I don't know. It's just weird.
While he's wanted by the police.
Yeah.
Anthony, what'd you think?
So I'll admit I didn't read the reviews, but I saw the Rotten Tomatoes score. So I obviously was not expecting much. And candidly, I wasn't all that excited to see this movie even when they first started doing trailers. I don't really think Sony knows what they're doing with their with their stuff. So that being said, I don't think this is fan-fortastic bad.
Right.
I don't think it's like the worst superhero movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But given the super caliber of superheroes movies we get now, what we kind of expect from superhero films, this is still very bad. It's not good. It's clear to me that Sony without Marvel doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. They really don't. They still think that if they just throw together these characters on screen and hint at something bigger and maybe tease that they're part of the MCU, that's enough. They're like that. That's really all. They literally made this film to get to the end.
Yeah.
Because, like if you watch the film, it felt like to me. I sat in my chair at the movie theater and I'm going, I don't feel anything in the entire movie. It's going from point A to point B to point C to point D to point Z as fast as possible, with no investment in any of the characters. Literally, I wrote this down. It might be cheesy, but this movie feels like they sucked the blood out of the entire script, directing, editing. There's no passion in this entire movie. The movie has no fangs whatsoever.
But the thing that really bugs me is that if you watch the trailers, there's all this other footage, someone tried to do something with this movie. Like I don't know, like
absolutely,
like so. It's not like they just like they put it out. And then they took it and they mashed it around and they put it back in.
Yeah,
it's
I'd be curious to see what that is. But I've heard rumors that the reason it's like this is because Sony saw it and they were like, "Oh, we got a piece of shit on our hands." And they were like. We don't have anything. And or there's another rumor that they thought they put the cart ahead of the horse and they were like, we are going to make this is going to be part of the MCU.
Yes.
And then Marvel was like, what the fuck is this shit? This ain't
exactly
the MCU.
This is exactly what I think happened. I don't blame Daniel Espinosa. Maybe the script I blame a little bit. I don't blame any of the actors. This one is Sony. Like, that's what I think happened is they had those Adrian Toomes scenes from the trailer in the movie inside. He met him in the movie. It was a bigger part and they were going to tie it together because there's so many scenes in the trailer. The graffiti of Spider-Man, the picture where it says murderer, not in this at all, right? None of that shit. All of the Toomes scenes are different. All the Michael Keaton scenes are different. So Marvel saw this and like, no fucking way. You're crazy. This is not involved our shit at all. You need to chop this up, because Espinosa, to his credit, like, he hasn't held back. He's called out Sony. He's like, the trailers were Sony. I had nothing to do with that. This post-credit scene, the way it's hacked up, that was also Sony. He's like, I like having control, but this is a big picture with a lot of moving parts. I don't have anything to do with those decisions. And this is probably not the movie that he made initially.
Well, let me comment on that, though. What is this movie, if what you're saying is true, and the Sony's already fucked.
Yeah.
Because they're banking on this movie, they're hanging their hat on the movie being part of the MCU. There's nothing, even with what you're saying, it being all fucked up and removed.
Yeah.
That means this movie wasn't hanging its hat on actually being a good film. It was only hanging its hat on being on being associated with Marvel and the allure of what's going to happen next. Literally, the way Sony was planning this out when I was watching this film and what you just said is literally they're going, well, Marvel teases other characters. Why don't we tease other characters?
Yeah.
And when we do make the end of this film, people are going to be excited to see those other characters win this film, right? Yeah. It's like, well, no, you didn't make a good movie.
What about these characters?
Well, yeah, it was just weird. Like, I think the intent is, well, obviously they got to make a movie. They got to make a product to put out, right? But then they want to also have IP, right? So they're like, oh, now we have a name recognition character, just like we created Venom. We put him out there. Now there's a Venom. We can do something with Venom. Venom can come back in Venom 3.
And they got Venom in the Spider-Man No Way Home somehow.
So yeah, so they have they're trying to create Morbius as a character. So in that sense, like, okay, now you have Morbius. You can use that piece in your puzzle. Like, you can go, we have this character. He has these powers. We all know what the powers do. We know that he's got some, strength level, blah, blah, blah. So now they have that piece to play with. Great. Now, but that's all it is, this movie. It doesn't even do it well. So I think that, yeah, mission accomplished. They introduced a character, but they didn't give a fuck about any of, like, the nuance or the fucking complexity of character or the story, any, like, editing it together to make any sense. Like, there's no thought process there. They were just doing things to further this, like, shared universe, IP driven type money making, this person's now in Toombs is in there. And it's very apparent that they're just doing things for corporate reasons.
It's terrible. Yeah. I mean,
it's not like anything artistic.
It's more overt. Like, we know Marvel's doing things, but they're doing it. We know they're doing a lot of the corporate stuff too. But this one is so overtly corporate that it's like, you can't. By the time you get out of the movie, you're like, that's the only takeaway. This was made to get to point B. There's nothing. There's not a passion behind actually making this character.
It's almost insulting to a movie viewer the way they're, like, just blatantly, and you think you're not going to notice.
If you're dumb enough, you're not going to notice.
Yeah, but this is like, they're not even trying. Like, they just think everyone's an idiot, and they're not going to look. Okay, let's just get to the post.
All right, let's compare it to a movie that has almost as bad of a script, like Godzilla versus Kong.
Okay,
right? At least everything that was on screen was fucking amazing to look at. You got a spectacle out of it, and sound design, and just like very, like, beautiful set pieces that still I remember to this day, even though, like, him blowing a hole into the center is ridiculous.
Stupid.
All right. But here you have things that are just forgettable.
You can't see any of the fucking action in this movie. They do the thing where there's action and then it cuts to, like, the slow-mo moment, and that's the only time you see what the fuck's going on.
By all means, fucking make a movie that sucks, but, like, don't show me the bat scene that we've already seen in fucking Batman Begins like 20 times.
Yeah, I got some Lost Boys vibes when they're like, Michael.
Like, do some new shit. And, like, they tried to, like, do something unique by giving him, like, trails. Like,
okay, I have an issue with these trails. Yeah, they look cool. The smoke colored trails. But why is that happening? And also, it covers everything up. You can't see.
Yeah.
I think they just use that to cover up the shitty CGI.
I don't know. It was a poor choice because
what are these colored smoke clouds? What is this? Why is this happening?
Like there were moments I was like, oh, this guy could be a cool character. Jared Leto looks great, and like the CG Morbius actually looked pretty cool.
Yeah, Milo, though, the bad guy, that looked like a fucking Instagram filter when he went vampire. Like,
why was he wearing those sneakers? Like the whole time, I'm like, why is he? Anthony, you know sneakers. Are those good sneakers? I don't even know.
To running?
They look like they were wearing New Balance or something.
Matt Smith dancing in the mirror and getting dressed was like my favorite part of the whole movie. Really,
but the thing is, though, is like the movie, and I don't think either of the Venoms are all that great, but at least Venom had some sort of style, right? Like you can dive into the fact that Tom Hardy's acting like a fucking goofball.
Yep.
There's these homoerotic things that are going on with Venom. Like he's biting. Like it's a bonkers fucking film. It's not great in my opinion, but like this one,
he goes to a rave. There's
no real fun to have. Like
no,
Jared Leto is. You say he's fine. I don't think he's really doing anything in this film. By playing it so subdued and serious, like all I know about Jared Leto, like tell me 3 things about Jared Leto's character.
Yeah.
He's a doctor that likes to help people. Okay. What else? Like what is defining Jared Leto's character?
Well, I do think that you do get an idea of, okay, he's this very meek, weak person, but he's very, very intelligent. But and he's singularly focused on curing himself. That's his only thing that he cares about. I don't think that even as a person he has anything else going for him other than that.
No, and they drop that whole thread in the second half where it all becomes about, you should embrace these powers, and now I got to stop you for some fucking shitty reason.
That's the thing. He doesn't have an arc.
No.
He just is the same person, and then now he's just trying to cure this disease.
And his powers are all over the place, too. Like, he just does things out of nowhere.
The powers are one thing, but I think what's more important, he really doesn't have an arc at all.
No.
He's the same guy coming in and he is out, and like what does he learn about anything?
Yeah, it would be great if he kind of had to almost like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing where he's just like reveling in it, but he's just like this feral beast at that point.
I mean, you don't even see the first transformation. Like they don't show you that. My God.
Let me get into, can I get into that real quick?
Yes.
His first transformation in that whole boat scene.
On the boat scene, yes.
I was watching that scene and I'm like, what the fuck? How did they write this scene? So they're like, so basically he has to go out into international waters to experiment on himself, right?
Right.
And he talks to Milo, and Milo's like, okay, I'll set that up.
I can hook you up.
So Milo, for some reason, someone mentioned earlier, how is he rich? Who knows? He's rich.
Yeah, he's just rich.
But he's rich enough his thought process is, I'm going to send Morbius on a boat, but I'm going to arm the boat with mercenaries.
What?
Why are there mercenaries on the boat?
Yes, why are there hired killers?
Need people to kill.
Okay,
yeah.
So you need people to kill.
Yeah, but
that's how this is how everything's written. It's like, we need someone. Right, mercenaries.
But then he's like, you need people to kill, but you don't want Morbius to be a villain. So we're going to make the mercenaries just complete dickheads to the female doctor. But it's like, why are they dickheads to the female doctor? Oh, it's because they're going to get killed in 10 seconds. Like, none of this makes, like, what is the logistics on having mercenaries with guns on this? Like, Milo had no way of knowing that Morbius was going to turn into a fucking living vampire. Like, you would never have needed guys with guns on that boat. No. You don't need them to be assholes either.
Is he just jump ship into the middle of the ocean?
That was my other question. He calls in a Mayday, he puts a blanket on Martine, and then fucks off, jumps off. What happened? How did he get back? Where were they? How far did he swim? Did he fly back? What the fuck happened?
What? Yeah, who wrote that?
In the trailer, there's a line where Tyrese is like, you were lost for 2 months, and then you showed up on this boat here. Like, it was a whole different story. And in the trailer, you notice Tyrese Gibson has a fucking robotic arm. He had a way bigger part, and instead, these are 2 incompetent cops that don't even know what the fuck is going on.
What?
He had a robotic arm at some point. He was going to be a monster killer.
add to the movie?
Nothing. There was no reason. I love Al Madrigal.
They
He's
just had to
hilarious.
give you the impression that the cops were doing something about this.
But like
That was it.
Every scene they're in,
They do nothing.
They're just repeating stuff that we already know. They're trying to catch up to that way, and we're already ahead of them. And I'm like, what is the fucking point of this? This is a movie that I was shaking my head a lot as I was. I almost got whiplash. I was shaking my head so much. Also, you notice, so he gets back to the lab with the serum, and then you see that one shot. He puts down the serum, which is 2 vials of yellow liquid. Nothing's labeled. You don't know what this is. Then Milo shows up and gets mad at him that he gave him the cure, and you're not going to cure me. And then later, he just has taken the fucking serum, and he's a vampire. I knew they were going to do this. You never see him grab the fucking shit. And
No, I
even
knew
then,
that,
how
yeah.
would he know that was the fucking serum to grab?
let me even frame it. There's such little development between what Milo and Morbius's relationship is, and like any of that. There's no build up to any of this eventual conflict. That when I was watching that scene, I go, Morbius, you're kind of a dick. Like
Yes.
you just cured yourself, and now you're like, whoa,
I can't do it,
I'm
man.
God, and I can't do that for you. And it's like, well, why shouldn't I feel sympathy for Milo? He's sick. He's the one that funded you to go out there. You're walking around now with a 6-pack telling him it's no good.
I'm all buff, and you can't be, dude.
Yeah.
But didn't you love when he wrote the word blood in blood? And then the guy was like, well, do you need blood?
Yeah, I mean,
That was fantastic. It's fucking fantastic. I will say the one I think the best horror type scene was that hallway scene. Remember with the light, motion control light scene as the nurse is walking?
Yeah.
And it's
It was
flickering.
okay.
Like that was a kind of a legit horror scene there.
It was a nice horror scene, but then I was watching it and I'm going, why is this an empty ass hallway? Like you're in a
Late at
hospital.
night.
You're in
Yeah,
a hospital.
It's
There's nurses everywhere.
it's off hours.
It was literally they made the scene because they're like, we need a horror scene. This movie's supposed to be a horror movie, so we're gonna make one horror scene, and now we have a movie that has horror elements in it. We've now checked that box. Let's keep making our movie. And there's no reason that she's alone in that hallway by a hospital with no lights on. They don't turn off all the lights like that.
Yeah, why would you turn off all the lights? She does run
Why
and
is
turn
she
all the lights
if
on.
it's a working hospital, you don't turn off all the lights in the hallway.
So then the third act is just fucking ridiculous because they do that thing where like Milo is with the doctor and he slits his throat but leaves him alive long enough for him to call Michael to pull him away from Martine to go over there, and then Milo goes over there and kills Martine, then he's got to go back to fuck where he was. And by the way, she's not dead. In the last shot,
can anyone explain to me that interaction between Morbius and Martine?
no.
Well, she bit his lip
Oh, and then she's like,
and
drink.
sucked his blood.
She said, drink me, use me to fuel yourself or something. Why? I don't know.
So how is she not dead if he used her?
She's a vampire now, I guess.
If she,
I don't know.
In the old stories, you drink the vampire's blood and you become a vampire.
Oh, she bit him first.
But she bit him first. I saw that, but then Morbius bites her.
and
Yeah.
and drains her of blood.
Well, you have
presumably.
in order to become a vampire, you have to die first
Is that right?
after you drink the blood.
Is that?
So it checks out, I guess, but it's just terribly done.
It's so
Yeah.
clunky and messy. And
Yeah, when she opens her eyes, I'm like,
what? I was like, what? What is
yeah.
going on?
I was like, yeah. I was literally, what was it going on? I'm like, why do you want me to care that she's a vampire?
Because they got to set up for the sequel. In
But
the
what is
comics,
that?
I think that she becomes a female vampire, whatever, and maybe she's going to be maybe they want her to be the bad guy. I don't think this thing is getting a sequel. Can we just get to the post-credit scene? Holy shit. So, at least they put them real early up front before like 11 minutes of credits. I'll give them that. We don't have to fucking wait till the end. But you don't see any of the Michael Keaton footage from the trailer. We see the sky cracks from Spider-Man No Way Home, and then we see a bright light in the prison cell where Morbius was, and it's fucking Michael Keaton, Adrian Toombs shows up there. How? Why? That's not the spell Doctor Strange did. He didn't know who Spider-Man was, but the spell was to pull everyone into over there. What is he doing here? I don't know. And then the ridiculous reveal that the prison is like, oh, we don't know who he is, so we're just going to have to let him go. He doesn't exist. So he lets him go, and then he finds Morbius in the desert, He already has a full Vulture suit. Where the fuck did this come from? And then he just name drops Spider-Man real quick. And then he's like, oh, by the way, want to team up? Why would Morbius want to team? Why is he a bad guy now? How does he even know who Spider-Man
explanation
is?
for any of it.
What the fuck is going on in this movie?
Yeah, that's bad. Marvel has done. Here's the thing, though. I will say this: our MCU has done some post-credit scenes that ended up not making any sense.
Yeah,
and
but
at the end of Incredible Hulk, Tony Stark goes up to Ross and says, "Let's make a team." That makes no sense now in hindsight.
That's a good point.
But so they've done scenes like that. But yeah, this one doesn't really make a ton of sense.
What is happening?
There's not a lot. And I watched Adam Does Movies' review.
What was his take?
He said. And this was a good point that I didn't think of. I thought of the one where I was like, when Vulture showed up, and I was like, how the fuck did he get that equipment? All this equipment's in the other universe.
Yeah, he didn't rebuild this.
The part where Michael Keaton shows up in the cell, and he's like, new place. This is kind of nice.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
what?
Why would he say that? he literally just left to another universe, and that other universe that he was from, he was doing all that to protect his wife and kid.
Right.
Now he's in another universe without his wife and kid, completely lost. He's like, a regular human being would not be okay with just being transported to another universe.
And wouldn't he? Because now he knows who Spider-Man is. He knows that he saved his daughter. Wouldn't he try to find Spider-Man instead of just randomly finding Morbius? Like, how did he even know where the fuck Morbius?
How did he get even a hold of Morbius?
Yeah, how did he even know he was gonna be there? What is happening?
Nobody cares. That's the thing.
No. It was clearly what a fucking reshoot hack ending to put on this thing.
Well, it's clearly to me. I mean, it's clear first off, Sinister Six, right? They're still trying to build towards this.
Such a hard on for that.
And yeah, they really do. And they're kind of already backdooring the fact that there is a Spider-Man. So I think they're already going with, we've established some of the Sinister Six characters with Andrew, and we can maybe do this again.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh man, you guys got to give this one up.
I know they are. I don't know why they want to make a Sinister Six movie. They shouldn't have made a Morbius movie. There is some, like you said, Rex. There's interesting aspects like vampirism as illness, as addiction. But the movie, they don't even care. They're not gonna. They don't touch on these things. It could have been something deep. And instead, it's fucking ridiculous and clunky, and they just throw shit at the wall. And
I wasn't like in my seat, like going boo, but I was just like flabbergasted after I thought about it. Like after the movie was over and it washed over me, I was like, wow, like they really don't give a fuck.
They don't know what they're doing.
Literally, they think I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to notice any of this shit.
It's condescending. The Screen Crush guy said that post-credit scene is super condescending, and he's absolutely right.
Like so insulting. It was
very insulting.
Insulting to a person to be like, you're not going to care about this because we're just going to fucking spoon feed you this bullshit and you're going to like it. And I'm like, no.
It reminded me, I wrote this down. I went, this is like movies are supposed to be this fun ride, right? Where you go, like you go on a car ride and you see all these sights as you go on your car ride. So you get to point A to point B, but you see a lot of things and it's an adventure. Well, this movie's like, okay, we're going to take you on that adventure, but your car ride is going to be from Indiana to Kansas. And it's going to be completely flat.
Yes.
You're not going to see.
Fields.
There's no passion in this ride whatsoever.
Oh, and the windows are really dirty, so it's hard to see anything.
We're just going to get there, all right? And by the end, you're going to be cool with it because at least we got there. We made a movie, guys. We made a movie.
It's yes, barely. It's hacked together.
Well, when a company as big as Sony, with the IP as big as Marvel's IP, with stars as big as Jared Leto and like all the people that were in this movie that were like, you know, TV stars, people that you know, people that are in other movies, you know, like there's a lot of like high level cachet going on here, and to just not give a fuck, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Like, as I said, if you're going to do a terrible movie, make it memorable. Make it like, hey, that was some shit I never seen before. I can forgive the fact that they didn't make a good script or they edited the fuck out of it, but at least I left with something I've never seen before that got my blood pumping. At no point did anything like rouse me at all.
No.
So it was just kind of like this milquetoast experience.
I was the whole time. It's a movie where like I'm waiting for it to kick into gear, right, and go, and it never fucking gets there. It's just never. It just fucking pedals along.
It had potential.
It kind of did.
Oh, it does. It
You
definitely
could make
does.
this a much better movie, and it wouldn't be hard. But the main problem is all these Sony Spider-Man universe. Like, you need Spider-Man. You kind of need Spider-Man. Maybe you could do this without Spider-Man.
You don't necessarily need Spider-Man in this one, but they're so latched onto the fact that they want that it's tangential to Spider-Man that they just can't get over the fact that, like, if you just include cameos, that's not enough.
Yeah.
Like, you can't. I did
You
want
can't
to
just
point out
name
one
drop
thing
Spider-Man.
too. I wanted to point out. So I just want to do the math on this real quick.
Yeah.
So that prologue scene where we see him as a little kid. How old do you think he is there as a little kid?
I'm gonna say he's like a 12-year-old, maybe.
Think he's 12?
Yeah, like 10 or 11. 10 maybe.
10,
9,
okay.
10.
10, 9.
That was 25 years.
So 25. So
before.
basically, Jared Leto's playing, I would say, a 34 to 38-year-old.
Yeah.
But when they cast him in this film, he's like 48. 49.
He's 50 now.
I was like, then again, he looks great. I'm just going, man, they cast a 50-year-old to play like a guy 10 to 15 years younger than himself.
He was buff. Like they made him looking emaciated to make him looking buff. Like that actually worked. It looked good.
Yeah, it looked good.
And he looked good, but it's just funny you don't see his first transformation. The few shots of his teeth and the close-up shots, they weren't bad. The fucking Matt Smith's fucking CGI was horrible. But yeah, no, like also that line from the trailer, remember where he goes, I'm Venom. Just kidding. Michael Morbius at your service. That wasn't in the movie. There was a shot of the Oscorp
He does
building.
say I'm Venom.
He does say I'm Venom. So this is in the Venom verse, which possibly the Spider-Man in this is Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Maybe. I don't know. The Daily Bugle is from the Sam Raimi logo, but the headlines about the Black Cat and Rhino are from the Amazing Spider-Man universe.
Oh, I had one more scene that I was like, what the fuck is happening here?
Yeah.
So that scene where somehow he senses, so all of a sudden his sonar has now become a spidey sense because he's at the cafe.
Oh, right.
And he senses that they have fake $100 bills.
Oh, wait, is that what happened?
I don't know.
Was he? He was
or
listening to this.
He's
listening.
He hears that conversation. I don't know why this trips him off to hear this. I don't know why he's even eavesdropping on this.
Yeah, he has
But he
bad
hears
ears.
that they have the fake $100 bills.
Yeah.
The lady, for some reason, can't take one, but she takes multiple $100 bills that are fake. And then he's like, I'm going to go follow these guys.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm following these guys not to stop them from doing crime. I'm following them because I need a new lab.
I need their lab. Yeah.
It's like,
it's just
why would
odd.
you think they have a lab that you, like, what would even put you on their tail
Because
where you're like, I
Same
can follow
chemicals,
them?
the counterfeit is...
Yeah, because counterfeiting money is the same as doing blood shit.
Oh my God.
Same
And
as
then when he,
artificial blood.
when he re-engineers the counting money thing to be the spinner for like,
Oh, it's centrifuge.
yeah, the centrifuge for making like new blood. I'm
I
like,
forgot about
what?
that.
What
Wait,
just
what
Yeah,
do you
he's
think about
instantly MacGyver.
he's drinking like blue milkshakes throughout the movie. It's just, I don't know.
But
Something
when
was
does
weird.
like when have we established? Okay, yeah, he's a great doctor, but what? We didn't know that he was a fucking mechanical engineer.
Apparently he is. He can build any medical machine that he needs.
Well, I mean, look, in the defense of that, like a centrifuge is not hard to make. You know, it's just
Do you know
something
that
spins
if you
things.
follow men with counterfeit $100
That there will be
bills, that
a
they're going to have
spinny
the
device?
equipment?
Like you can literally take a drill and make a centrifuge out of it. Like
I
you know,
guess.
But those guys would be the guys to follow.
Yeah.
no, but there's no logic to that at all.
It's like I need
But
to
I'm
find
just saying,
counterfeiters.
like once you're there and you need to make a centrifuge out of fucking junk, okay, I get it. But like the whole idea of it that he's like he hears guys talking about counterfeit money. He's like, oh, I should be able to make a retrofit a centrifuge out of fucking whatever spare parts is laying around the printing press.
And where are they? Where in New York is that you can find an abandoned? What is that? An abandoned mall, an abandoned train station that they happen to be on?
No, that doesn't exist.
It's in Williamsburg. Dumbo.
Where can you find something like that?
I mean,
East
there's not a lot of
Village.
malls in New York. I mean, there is a couple in a building here and there, but like
That's a mall, right? It's an abandoned mall.
Yeah.
Where what kind of that property would have been destroyed and repurposed pretty quickly.
Oh yeah.
just empty real estate for no reason. And then he can suddenly like control bats at the end. I didn't know this was his power set. Also, his power is a little bit.
I was just like, how come the bats don't like? They like him, but they don't like Milo. Milo's
they shouldn't attack him either. He's from them. So he kills Milo, right? He has that antidote and then kills Milo. I forget what happens.
I think, because the antidote, he was going to give it to himself, too.
Right. But no, you got to live
but then
for
we don't
the
realize,
sequel.
we don't see why he doesn't give it to himself.
No.
Right?
It just
He's
ends,
like, he does, it just ends.
with him flying off, right? She's awake, he flies off, and then that's it.
But if we were to follow that character's logic, he would have also killed himself because he doesn't know if he can control himself.
Right. And again, like even the artificial blood, it's kind of an interesting idea to play with. This whole conflict would have been interesting. They don't fucking care about any of this shit.
Adam from Adam Does Movies calls it, he has these Go-Gurt packs and he's just chowing Go-Gurt.
He was chugging fucking milkshake packs. Yeah, it just seemed very silly. The blue artificial blood was just.
Give me that Capri Sun.
Yes, it is. It was a Capri Sun
Capri
pack.
Sun, yeah.
OJ, purple stuff. Oh, Sunny Delight. It's a couple of fun side stories. Like I said, Tyrese Gibson was supposed to be a monster hunter, and like when they were promoting this, he thought he had a way bigger part of the movie, and like it would have made sense because apparently it was tied into the artificial blood, like it saved him, so that he would realize that Morbius is not a bad guy, and Morbius would realize that they're kind of on the same side. Could have had a partnership. Would have been great. All that shit was cut out. And then did you see where he posted on Instagram a fake Martin Scorsese tweet that was out on April Fool's calling Morbius the greatest movie ever, and Martin Scorsese apologizing for bagging on superhero films, and he's like, this is the true side. Tyrese Gibson reposted that on his Instagram going, wow, this is great. I can't believe this happened. And then he deleted it, but it was too late. It was too late and it got out. So Tyrese, you fell for a bad tweet.
Let's have a fun
Tyrese.
little thought here.
Yeah.
Obviously we're bagging it. Is it how bad? How bad? Like we obviously will rate it in a second.
Yes.
But does it rank with all the worst of all time, and the worst of all time being like Batman and Robin,
Catwoman,
Fantastic, Catwoman? I
don't think it's that bad. Bottom tier, trash can, trash fire. But it's close. But it's no Catwoman. I think is a lot worse. I think Fantastic for the same reasons. Oh, Elektra, I barely remember, so probably. But this movie is quite forgettable, maybe also.
Yeah. I don't think it's that bad, but it's
in
not
that
good.
It's in that same kind of film where, like, when they made like Elektra, like, the director, nobody gave a shit about it. They're just like, let's put Jennifer Garner in like a bustier, and then everybody will go to the movies and watch it. And it's kind of like the same thing. It's like they didn't really give a shit about it at all.
Yeah.
They're like, you could tell that at some point, like some of the production design was okay and this and that, but like overall, it's not the worst movie because like there are some things that save it. Like, as I said, there's like a lot of cachet. There's a lot of people that are doing like adequate jobs at acting and, like all that stuff. There is like a little bit of a horror vibe. There is some scares. There is some of that. Like there is that. If you're looking for vampire shit, you'll get that fix. So there is something to be had there. It's just when you think about how many things that went wrong and how many things that make no sense, how many times that they were just like, fuck it. We need
keep it moving.
We need to do this. Yeah, we need to make this happen. Yeah. So we're just going to fucking do it. Fuck the person who's watching this movie. That's what it is. Yeah. It's like, fuck the person who's watching this movie. We're not going to, it's like when someone gives you no reason for when they do something wrong, they just felt like fucking doing it. And that's what it is. So it just angers you as you watch it a little bit.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's like it's just,
well, the slap in the face was that with the post credit. That's when I really started. I was like, okay, that's it. Now you've gone way too far.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no foundation to anything that's been going on. It's like we're just going to take you there, but we don't really care about how that journey goes.
Yeah, it's kind of like
it's been a long time that I've sat and watched a movie where I wasn't either like, man, this is really bad, or man, this is like awesome. Like I was just kind of sat there and I'm like, I literally sat there in a dark theater and I was thinking about other things. I started thinking about like things
wondering.
going on in my life.
Oh
not
my
like
God.
not that it like prompted ththoughts on my life,
No, but
more
it's
like
that
I'm
boring. The movie is that boring where that's going to happen.
Yeah. I was like, there's literally so little to engage in. Like the movie doesn't even want me there.
Yeah, it's like being on a date and you're just like, okay, I'm in on this date. I'm going to see how far I can take it. But then it just goes a step too far. Like there's something that's said or something that's done that just puts you off so much you can't continue anymore. And that's what it was like. I was like, I'm all okay. I'm going for the ride here. All right. Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to, mind that you, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, like that scene comes up and you're like, all right, like I've dealt with enough. You fucked up. Now I can't deal with this anymore.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's just one of those things.
I mean, the end was definitely like, oh my God, that post credits. But I would say if I was describing this date to another person before the end, and I didn't want to be mean, because actually I wouldn't have been mean. I would just be like, she's nice.
It was nice. She's nice.
It was nice. Oh.
It was like,
it
whatever.
is just like meh.
It's one of the. I mean, it's a movie that people are going to forget about in a week. Like it's not even bad. It's not even so bad that it's like rewatchable bad, where you can talk about it. It's just bad enough. It's one of those where you even don't want to be in this place, where it's not horrible enough for it to be lived forever, and obviously not good enough to live forever. So it's just forgotten.
It's worse than being on one of the extremes,
right?
I feel like if I would have gotten up right at the end of the movie when I saw like the purple,
you might not have been as mad.
I probably would give it an extra point. You know what I mean? Like it was. What's that? Those two tarot. I mean, Michael Keaton going, "I'm gonna like this place." Like, like what the fuck are we watching at this point? Like, what? Who? And so, yeah. I don't know.
So also the other fun story, we all know how Jared Leto is very method, and heard stories from Suicide Squad. In this interview with Uprocks that came out today, Daniel Espinosa confirms that Jared Leto was also method on this movie. So method, so committed that when he went to the bathroom, he would use his crutches and walk slowly and limp and take a lot of time. So this ended up taking a lot of time, costing money, pushing the production back. They made a deal that they would get a wheelchair and someone to wheelchair him there, so it was a little bit quicker for him to pee, so he could stay in character. Now
it's called acting.
It's called acting. Look, I get it. Look, listen, great actors do this method, right? But I think for this instance, it doesn't help you here, Jared. It's not really translating to the screen.
All I gotta say about Jared Leto is
much.
The man is a good actor. He makes some good movies, but either him or whoever is helping him decide what scripts to do for superhero movies,
he needs to fire his agent.
Yeah, that needs to stop.
You said in your review, you're absolutely right. He is 0 for 2 playing the worst Joker and now like a really bad Marvel character. You know who else is 0 for 2? Matt Smith, who got common fame through Doctor Who. He was in, remember Terminator Genisys? Was it Genisys?
Mm-hmm. Which one? What was he in?
Well, Oscar Isaac came back from being a bad apocalypse.
Oscar Isaac did come back from being a bad apocalypse, but Matt Smith now has this role and the shitty role in the shitty Terminator movie. He was one of the half-human Terminator
at the end
hybrids,
of Genesis.
Remember? Like, it's so forgettable, you don't even remember.
He was the guy at the end of Genesis.
Yeah, he was the bad guy at the end.
No, I don't think. Oh, yeah, you're right.
So he is also not
Jason Clarke was the main bad guy, but he was also,
wasn't he Reese as a Terminator, right? Was that
Jason Clarke was John Connor.
John Connor as Terminator. That's the fucking dumbest idea. That movie is so stupid.
It.
That was bad.
This movie is just about as stupid. But Matt Smith now also has these roles in these really bad, stupid movies along with the Jared Leto. So it's very interesting. Okay, let's final thoughts. Rate it, rank it amongst the 3 SSU, Spider-Man, Sony, Spider-Man universe, whatever. I want to know where it stands with the Venom and the Venom 2. Anthony.
I mean it's worse than those other 2 movies, and I don't think very highly of Venom 1 or Venom 2 is bad. I think Venom 1 is not great. This is worse in that, again, it's just so forgettable.
Yeah.
There's nothing to hang your hat on, and it has what's going to go down is probably one of the worst post-credit scenes ever.
Yeah.
So It's probably for me. I was gonna give it a half point, but I'm gonna dock it a half point. I'm gonna go 3.5.
Wow,
but it's not bad enough to be a 1 or a 2,
Right,
where we would
right,
we would talk about this forever. So it's in a bad place, and that it's forgettable.
Is it even what the fuck happened worthy? I'm on the fence about that one.
No, because there was no anticipation.
We just did it.
We just did it. There's nothing there.
And there was no anticipation for this movie.
That's true. It wasn't like it's supposed to be a big movie that bombed. Like,
Right.
Then, again, it's kind of shitty that like the early reviews were already like this movie had no chance. It had no chance, but it doesn't deserve it really either.
Yeah.
Had it not been that bad, that would have been one thing. But it was pretty accurate. Rugs.
Before the post-credit scene, I would have given it a 4. It was almost
shit.
a movie.
Okay.
It was almost a movie.
Yeah.
And then that fucking those two.
Yeah.
Not just one. One was a kick to the balls, and the other one was someone teabagging me as I was on the floor, holding my nuts.
People through that.
So I have to dock it a whole point and go 3.
Wow.
So
yeah. No, I'm going to give it my score. It is the worst. I actually kind of like the Venoms because they're fucking goofy and
Yeah,
silly.
some people like them.
And quirky. This is not, it doesn't even have that factor, right? This is definitely the bottom. Those two are a lot better. I'm going to give it a 4.5. And I like everything. And no, when I find myself shaking my head so many times and just leering at this, I can't, it's just, it's not good. It's not good.
Like,
Sorry.
if you
It could have been good.
It could have been good. It had potential.
Yeah.
So, and that's the sad part about it. And there might be even like a better cut laying around.
I believe.
I don't even know.
I want to know what that other movie
I
is.
can't imagine it could be worse. I really can't.
I mean, I want to see Tyrese with the robotic arm and like Adrian Toomes in there talking to him in the prison. What the fuck was going on there? Like how different was that version? It had to be way different. Some people feel like Espinosa is a good director. He hasn't made a lot, but he has fans. And
Did you see Blade Trinity?
Yeah.
That was a horrible fucking movie.
Is that worse than this, or is this worse?
I feel like I feel like I don't know. They're almost in the same level.
It's
I
close.
think.
It's similar to the Fan-Tastic, where it is clearly the studio coming in. And
I think Fan-Tastic is worse because you can clearly see that movie is chopped all hell.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, I think, is just really poorly edited.
Yeah, the construction is really bad. Yeah, the construction, the assembly of whatever they had in the reshoots is just clunky as shit. So, yeah, well, that's Morbius. Look, the next one will be good. I think the next one, we got Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, May 6th. Also, have you noticed Thor Love and Thunder is coming out, I think, in July? There's no trailer. This is the closest we've ever been. We're like 90 days from the movie, a little between 90 and 100. This is the closest it's ever been for a Marvel movie before a trailer has been released. It's very strange.
Oh. I think I saw something about Thor Love and Thunder today.
Is it because
they're doing a press tour?
They're doing a press tour, but are they waiting for Doctor Strange to come out? I feel like they just have a lot of things out. They got to promote Moon Knight. They got to promote Doctor Strange.
I think we'll get it any day now.
Yeah, you think it'll be soon? I feel like it should be any day. Like it's 90 days. It's a little over 90 days away. That's crazy.
It's literally when we finish the show,
it's gonna come on. It's less than Spider-Man No Way Home came out so late. This is even closer than that. That was at least like over 100 days. So I'm very curious. It's either the movie needs work or it's tied to what's going to happen in Doctor Strange, or they're just too many things. They're changing their marketing strategy.
I think they don't need to. I think they don't need to do as much. They don't need to release trailers as early. They've got so many things going out.
Yeah, I don't think they do anymore.
Yeah, and I think it builds more anticipation. I think. Yeah, I don't know if they necessarily need to. I think the standard was like 6-7 months out. You release your first trailer.
That's a long
I don't know if they need to do that.
That's a long time. I think they may have just restructured their marketing strategy with what's going on.
Maybe they were waiting to see what happens in Morbius.
With Morbius,
they were
if it's a hit, this movie's not getting a sequel. Do you think it gets a sequel? No way.
I don't know. The amount of money it's making is like it's not a lot, but it's actually not as bad as I thought it would be.
No, it's not a complete fucking disaster. Like they'll make their money back probably.
Yeah.
Which to them may be a success, but yeah. Woof.
I mean, Sony's trying to make B movies.
This is a B movie.
This is not even a B movie.
Well, I congratulate them for making a $75,000 movie,
Yeah.
and if they didn't $75 movie, that's what I said.
$75. Looks like
That's 75,000.
That's the value of the movie. But I mean, $75 million.
Yeah, it's
movie.
not. Again, it's not like they didn't blow their load on like $200 million.
But like they didn't need to make this huge fucking movie. It was fine that it was that. It didn't take, like, as I said, they had big talent. They had all this stuff. They had effects throughout the movie. It wasn't like, didn't feel cheap at all.
No, I agree.
So,
no, it is kind of like a B movie, like in that vein. But I don't know if it's purpose or they just are, they don't know any better and they haven't evolved past that.
One last comment from me is, I've said this before, when they made Venom, it's like they whoever is in charge of these films is still watching those early 2000s superhero movies and going, this is it. This is the magic right here. You just throw a character on screen, give him powers, have him fight a character that looks just like him, and we'll make 3 sequels to this.
You know, in a way, that's fine if you acknowledge that, you know, you're purposefully doing this and you make it entertaining. But I don't feel like they meant to make it that way. And it just ends up that way because they're a little incompetent.
Into the Spider-Verse seems to me more and more as an anomaly.
How is that so good? What kind of a fucking fluke is Into the Spider-Verse?
because animation is more forgiving, I think, and you can do more, you know, and I don't know.
I mean, they invented a multiverse right there and 5 Spider-Man and the fucking movie's amazing.
I think that when you storyboard it into that much of detail and it starts to come to life on its own, you know, it's different than having to shoot it with people and sets and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of that makes keeps enough time to like fucking let other people start dipping their hands in there and fucking around with it.
Yeah. Kind of got an extended preview of that next Spider-Verse movie before my movie.
No, that was the same trailer that was out.
Was it?
Yeah, where Spider-Gwen shows up and then he gets sucked in. That looks great. I can't wait for Into the Spider-Verse 2. It's the only good thing in their fucking stupid Spider-Man-less Spider-Man universe. All right, we're done with that. I'm so glad I can now completely erase the movie from my mind. Let's move on to News from the Nation.
It's time for News from the Nation. It's time for News from the Nation.
It stinks. It stinks. It stinks.
Hot sauce.
Oh, that'll do it every time. Buffalo sauce. No, it's not about French fries and condiments. We got another couple of fun questions from our Facebook group and listeners. Jamie Robinson, Mr. Throwback Thursday, from the Mr. Throwback Thursday podcast, says, okay, here's a question to the nation. If you had to choose a superhero protected city to live in, which would it be and why? You guys think about your answers. I'll read some of our responses.
You have to. Okay, go. I was going to go ahead. Go.
Okay. Well, Blake Braden first asked, can I live in Themyscira? I don't see why not. You can pick Themyscira.
That's probably the best answer.
You got Amazons. You got Wonder Woman surrounding you.
Yeah.
Alice McPike says National City because you get all the benefits of Superman being there, but you don't have to deal with Lex Luthor's nonsense. Neighbor to Metropolis. Okay, I like that reasoning. Jess Rivera said, let me sit down in Central City. And he said, reason below. And he posted a photo of Candace Patton from The Flash.
Okay.
So that's why. Justin Zwerner, New York. Avengers, X-Men, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four. You know what? That was my first thought. Was New York City's got them all. Whatever neighborhood you're in, you got a hero hanging out there. John Bellotti Jr. also. Come on, man. New York City. I'm already here paying these ridiculous taxes anyway. Plus, we have like 9,000 superheroes, although a lot of those 70s era's heroes moved out due to gentrification and high rents. It's true. Luke Cage cannot afford an apartment in Harlem anymore.
I know.
There's a Starbucks there. He's got to go to Queens. Rick Martinez says, San Francisco, the city that will give me free season tickets to see the Niners for all the crimes I stop. I don't think he understood the question.
No.
And then, what do you guys got? Do you have an answer? I thought about Chicago, but all we had was Nightwing for like a year.
Wasn't he in Bloodhaven?
He was in Bloodhaven, but there was a comic book series where he moved to Chicago, actually, which was crazy because DC never has real fucking cities.
That was going to be my first question: is can you choose a real city?
You could choose a real or fake city because in the Marvel, they're real cities.
Right.
See, my thought process on this is I wouldn't want to live in a superhero city.
Too much fucking shit to look out for, probably.
Yeah, I mean, you're just living under constant threat of. I mean, I'd feel like you'd be living under constant threat of being nuked.
That is
all the time.
That's a very good point because at any moment the Hulk could come smashing through the wall and you're just trying to fucking get a coffee. You didn't
Not
want
even
any
the
of this.
Hulk, like the villains. Like the villains are just like,
yes.
you fucks live here. Like all those guys, all that New York. Like that's an absurd answer. The Avengers are
really
getting attacked
That is
all
a
the
really
time
good
in New
point.
York.
New York is always a target of whatever
And I
something
have
bad
no
happens.
superpowers.
That's a very valid answer.
So I would
didn't
pick
think about that.
I'd pick like fucking Des Moines, Iowa.
Boise, Idaho is my answer. Because they got potatoes. Potato Man is there.
Potato Man can help.
Well, there's
out.
only one real answer for this
What is
for
it?
me.
What is it?
Well, Themyscira is a good
That's
one.
a good one.
So I got to hand it to Blake Brayton. But if I can't go there, I'm going to Basin City and Old Town.
Sin City is a good one.
Yeah, well,
Like Frank
Old Town
Miller's Sin City.
is where all the hookers live.
Oh, that's right. That's where they're also badass like assassins and shit, aren't they?
Yeah, Mio.
After watching Morbius, I just want to live in Atlantis and drown.
Oh God, put me out of my misery. No, some good question, good answers. Here's another question. Blake Braden.
I got one. I don't know if it's actually a city or a country.
Yeah.
But I would live in Wakanda.
Oh, no, that absolutely counts.
Because
That's a great answer.
I feel like Wakanda, other than very recently in the Marvel Universe, has their shit together.
Yeah.
No one knows they're there.
Yeah.
No one's really attacking them. So.
Yeah, and like how cool it looked in Black Panther. Like I wanted to go live there. Absolutely. I was like, look at this fucking place. This is amazing.
Like, I'm coming from the thought process of least amount of attacks.
Right. You're hidden.
Yeah.
And that is a very valid point about New York City. Like there's a whole, damage control. There's a whole department just to deal with superhero after shenanigans. It's annoying. You're just fucking having cereal and, the Hawkeye smashes through your window. What the fuck is this? I didn't ask for this. So, good point. Okay, Blake Braden has another question. He posted this on April Fool's Day, April 1st. He said, what movie fooled you into thinking it was going to be a great movie based on the cast list? This is a great question also. Some of the answers from the group. Yeah, think about it. It's a very good question. William Salgado says Suicide Squad. I'll buy that. You had Margot Robbie, Will Smith. You're like, how could this go bad? It can't go bad. Joey Austin says it was Royal Tenenbaums, but I loved it after a second watch years later. Kelsey Carter has two, La La Land and No Country for Old Men. It's kind of surprising.
What?
Yeah. 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 Detective John Campbell says, can I just say the DC universe in its entirety? Yeah, like Batman versus Superman. Like, yeah, great cast. Look at this cast. Yeah, what happened? And then Justin Zwerner says movie 43. God, what a shit show that movie is.
Oh, that's a crazy
Anthony,
movie.
have you heard about movie 43?
No.
This cast, I'm just going to read you this cast list. That's a great answer because
it's a terrible
this
movie.
Cast is insane. Movie 43 features Johnny Knoxville, Gerard Butler, Anna Faris, Sean William Scott, Hugh Jackman, Richard Gere, Uma Thurman, Halle Berry, Emma Stone, Naomi Watts, Kate Bosworth, Kate Winslet, Terrence Howard, Liv Schreiber, Elizabeth Banks, Justin Long, Kristen Bell, Chris Pratt, and there's more, but that's the majority of them. Now you hear that and you're like, this should be great, and it's not. It's just not.
One of the first movies I thought of, I actually haven't seen it, but I just knew that it had bad reviews, was a similar movie where it had just a gigantic cast. Valentine's Day.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I can read the cast real quick.
Yes.
Julia Roberts, Jamie Foxx, Anne Hathaway, Jessica Alba, Jessica Biel, Kathy Bates, Bradley Cooper, Eric Dane, Patrick Dempsey, Hector Alonso, Jennifer Garner, Topher Grace, Taylor Lautner, George Lopez. And yeah, this is a movie that got really a lot of bad reviews.
And I've seen some of these lists of like bad cast movies, and it's a lot of these kind of like the holiday movies, like like Valentine's Day. You could put like the second Ocean's 12 in this category, possibly also after the first one.
Grown Ups.
Oh, yeah. See, that was surprising.
Oh, that's
You
really
got
bad.
Chris
Very
Rock,
surprising.
Adam Sandler, David Spade, Kevin James, and you're like, this should be the funniest fucking thing ever.
Yeah,
And,
but Sandler was on that spree of making just really bad shit.
Yeah, there's a bunch of movies like this. That's a great question and great answers. Keep them coming, nation.
Suicide Squad? Someone said that?
Yeah, Suicide Squad, the first movie. Absolutely.
I would say Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin, also another one. Yes. Because
Pearl Harbor?
yeah. Pearl Harbor, another one. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's a crazy cast. And it's Michael Bay. He'll fuck it up every time.
Yeah, I mean, he's got I don't know. Some people really like Armageddon, but so you could consider Armageddon.
Armageddon can be kind of thrown there.
What's that Chris Pratt movie with the aliens that he has to fight from Amazon?
Oh, the one with J.K. Simmons that just came out?
Yeah.
I forget what the fuck that was called. Yeah, those are all definite contenders for best cast, worst movie.
Yeah, that's a good question.
That's a great question. Keep them combination. We love these questions. All right, let's finish with what are we watching? Anybody, Anthony, what are you watching on your 80s train there?
I didn't watch anything last week. I have some stuff in the till that I'll probably watch soon, but yeah, nothing. The things I watched, I reviewed, and yeah, that's about it.
Ruggs, what do you got?
I watched Double Impact starring Jean-Claude Van Damme and Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Double the Van Dammes. Yes, is this his best
That's
movie?
right.
Is this his best movie ever?
No.
Okay.
Not even close. It's not a good movie. I don't know if it's his best movie. I have no idea, but he tries to act in this movie like two different characters.
Sure.
So I guess that's worth the price of admission. Plus you get double the Van Damme.
And they both do the splits.
Yeah. So, story goes, there is a American couple that are I think they're in, somewhere in Asia they're making like a Lincoln Tunnel type thing. I don't know. And I guess the mob wants in on it. So they kill this couple and they leave behind two baby twins. One of the twins, for some reason, wherever they are in Asia, they have like a French convent that he gets raised in.
Okay.
And by French nuns.
Sure.
And the other one is taken by the bodyguard to France for some reason, where he grows up with a French accent.
Oh, so they both coincidentally have French accents. That's interesting.
And then they move to L.A., the bodyguard and the young preppy Jean-Claude Van Damme, like Chad character or whatever. And the bodyguard is a karate instructor, but Jean-Claude Van Damme is a aerobics instructor surrounded by women and is in aerobics clothing. And where he's showing all the ladies in the class how he does his splits.
Sexy.
And where you have like a long tracking shot of Jean-Claude Van Damme's asshole. Yeah, you like get right in there. And
get that camera up in there, director.
The other brother who grows up in the convent ends up being like a street thug. And he's got like slick back hair and a cigar in his mouth. Anyhow, at this point in time, the bodyguard's like, okay, it's your birthright. You got to go and reclaim whatever your dad built over there in Asia and get it away from you need to claim this. And he takes him to Asia and they find the brother. And this is my favorite scene in the whole movie. So the bodyguard and Jean-Claude Van Damme, Hollywood Van Damme, preppy Van Damme, go in to find, gangster Van Damme at his like little club where they play like mahjong or whatever they're fucking playing.
Mahjong, yes.
And this hot blonde walks into the room and thinks that that's her boyfriend, who is the cigar chomping gangster Van Damme, but he's out. He's out doing gangster stuff. So she takes this guy who is a complete stranger to her, but unbeknownst to her, and puts her hand down his pants.
Oh God, that is assault. That is unwanted.
Immediately. And Hollywood Van Damme thinks this is the greatest day of his life. And thus begins the character dynamics of why they don't like each other. And they're brothers. And they've met for the first time and they have to now reclaim their birthright together, and that's the movie that we're watching.
I don't actually hate that setup of the girl putting her hand down the pants, not knowing that it's the twin.
that it does. That starts the whole schism between the both of them. They hate each other, like they don't like each other very much, but like. It's just weird that they both ended up in French-speaking places just so they can explain the accent.
Yes, he can't do any other accent. No, he can't. He can try to stretch two characters, but he can't do any other accent.
Yeah.
That's better than Morbius already. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
It's a lot more fun.
And there you go. That's that movie.
That's
right
great.
there.
We're getting ready. You were getting ready for the 80s action movie tournament. I got to start watching.
I do enjoy it was like a very quick movie. It was like an hour and 40 minutes or something like that.
Technically, I think that's 90s, but
it is 90s.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Speaking of quick movies, on SNL, Pete Davidson did a music video, and it was all about. He's like, give me a short ass movie, a really short movie. I'm looking for it. The whole song is about how movies are too long, and he just wants a short ass movie. And then they go on to list movies that are like under an hour and a half. It's pretty funny. It was pretty funny.
Watch any high-side Godzilla movie. They're all like 70 minutes long, but they feel like 5 hours long.
You know what? Morbius was like an hour 40, and it felt a lot longer.
Yeah.
It felt a lot longer.
Morbius is one of those films where it feels way long.
Yeah.
Yet also not long enough because there's not enough in here to describe what's going on.
There's clearly things missing. What is happening?
Yeah.
Right now, I got to tell you guys the best thing I'm watching. I think this is probably the best show on TV right now. It's fucking that Winning Time, the Rise of the Lakers Dynasty. It's the old shit. 4 episodes. It's 10 episodes long. It's a show that while I'm watching, I say out loud, this fucking show is amazing. Just like to myself. Like, it's so good. I don't know this story. So this is the equivalent of me like watching a comic book movie based on a comic book I never read. I don't know how much of it is real. I know I can look it up, but the storytelling...
It should be pretty real because a lot of people are very familiar with that story.
Apparently, it's very accurate, but... If this is all true, the story itself is fucking crazy. Like, you couldn't write this.
Real life is always better than Hollywood bullshit.
It has straight up movie style twists and turns, and I'm like, you can't fucking write this. So it's and by episode 4, they have opened in the new forum. It's a month in. It ends a month into their season, 79-80 season. Where, and this last episode was all about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to Islam and how he was kind of being the anchor on the team, and Magic is trying to get him to run around and open up, and he goes through this whole thing, and he bursts through. Like, he's introduced as a dick. The guy playing Kareem is amazing. He looks just like him. They even there's a scene of him filming his scene in Airplane. There's a quick shot of him in Game of Death doing karate. Like, they got the guys to recreate this. So he comes through. He has like a spiritual religious awakening, and he clicks, and the Lakers are on a hot streak the first 9 games. And then I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, don't spoil it, but I just wanted to get a general idea.
The ending is amazing. So, I've met people like Coach Jack McKinney with this new style. And the fact that everything Jerry Buss did was revolutionary, making the game a fucking adult party, having dancers that aren't, wearing sweaters and long shirts and pom-poms. And then even the style of play, changing the fact that you don't have a spot anymore. You got to flow like water. Like, all of this was
like
brand
water.
new.
Was Bruce Lee out here?
Flow like water. That's what he says.
Water.
He's like, you got to flow like water. But the fact that all of this was new and completely changes the game is wild. And the story is so good. John C. Reilly is great. Everybody's great. The guy playing Magic Johnson is great. I love the show. It's so good. And you don't have to be into sports. Clearly, like the way
if you like it, clearly.
Yeah, the fucking story is fantastic, and the storytelling and the way they do the 70s film grain, the way it's shot, they break the fourth wall and they talk to the camera. Oh, it's so good. So good. I think you would enjoy this, Anthony, but you probably know the story.
No, I would think I would watch it. It's just I'm on the 80s grind. I can't chew bubblegum and walk at the same time.
God damn it. The other great show, check out this concept, Anthony. Sci-fi show on Apple TV Plus called Severance. I've checked out the first.
Oh, it's sci-fi?
It's kind of a science fiction show. The first 2 episodes. Here's the premise, right? There's a place you work, and they have what's known as severed floors. So if you agree to work on these floors, you agree to go through this process where they do something to your brain, where when you get to work, you go in the elevator. When the elevator gets to your floor, you forget everything that is going on in your home life. And you get all the memories of work life only. You only remember what's going on at work. And then at the end of the workday, you punch out, you go back in this elevator, and your mind is wiped of anything that's happening at work. And you only have memories of what is happening at your home. Isn't that crazy? It's a fucking...
I would love to have that.
Right? Well, there's good and bad things about this process, but what a fantastic premise.
I think I already do that.
Yeah, people, you shut off, but literally think about you're at home and you have no idea that you're possibly like smuggling money or you're doing some fucked up shit at work and you don't know, but then maybe you're at work and you don't know that your family life is a mess and the consequences of this. It's so interesting. I've only watched the first 2 episodes and I'm like, holy shit, this is a wild concept that I'm going to fucking stick through. So Severance, you get severed from your memories. It's cool. I like it.
That's pretty cool.
Is it like Deliverance, the movie?
It is not like you got a pretty mouth, boy.
Do you squeal like a pig?
Let me see you squeal like a pig. It's not that.
Did you watch the Halo Part 2?
I did watch the second episode. I wasn't bad. I kind of dug it. I was into it a little bit where it's going. Did you watch it?
No, I feel like it's moving in a direction.
Yeah, at least
I don't know where we're going, but I mean, I'm excited to see Cortana.
Yeah, stuff is happening.
And how that's going to work out.
Yeah, you get to meet Bokeem Woodbine. Shocker.
That's right.
In this. So
not Dave Chappelle.
Not Dave Chappelle. He looks exactly like Dave Chappelle, and that's not a racist thing to say. Because
is it?
Not.
He just looks like him. He does.
Yeah, just they have similar facial features. Put up a photo of Bokeem Woodbine and Dave Chappelle, and 50-50 people are going to get it wrong. I'm telling you. It's because they really do look very similar.
Well, it's because Dave Chappelle is like he's now more buff
right,
and
like
big,
Bokeem
like
Woodbine
that guy.
is now.
Yeah, so it's like
that's good. I'm gonna continue with the Halo, but check out Winning Time. Fuck, that is a fucking good show.
All right,
I was so surprised. All right, that's it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Ruggs, where can the listener find you?
You can find me on Twitter at ReallyRugBoy. I'm waiting for Elon Musk to save us all.
He will. Get a Tesla, everyone.
He bought a big amount of Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh, he bought a stake in Twitter. What does he want to do with that?
He bought a steak
And
Twitter. And he's eating a steak.
And
while
he's eating
a
the
steak, he bought Twitter.
Yeah.
What do you think he's going to do with that?
Oh, geez.
I don't know yet.
That's a discussion for another time.
That's a separate podcast. Check out the show notes, listener. You'll find links to Rugboy's Twitter and all our socials. You can connect with us on the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook group, our email, show@jockandnerd.com. You can always email us, and we would love to hear your comments. Thank you for listening. Share the show with a friend, if at all, to save them from going to see Morbius. Because you don't want to waste your time. Just listen to the review. It'll be fine. Thank you for listening to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the nerd.
We'll peep you next time.
Elon, just erase everyone's stuff. Just erase everyone. Down to 0.
That'd be best.
Get your hand off my penis!
And do that too. Jean-Claude Van Damme should have said that.